Okay, I hit the button. We're doing a show now. So what's up?
Oh shit, that was quick.
No
Wow.
prelude.
That was quick.
Well, I mean, you were faffing around fixing your desktop background for like 5 minutes while I was watching funny Rainbow Six videos. Anyway, hi everybody. Before we get started, I just want to remind you this was brought to you by our patrons like Go Comics, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, and Sodasan0424. And if you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon, because you can get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies that'll really help us out. And thank you for your support.
Thank you.
And now it's time for Waha.
Now it's apparently it's time for nap time because we are professional sleepy boys.
Yeah, I thought I was getting a little fired up, but no, I'm still tired. I didn't sleep
You're
good
still
last
tired.
night, so I'm a little sleepy.
That's
But
the
I'll
big
live.
word. So I'm just gonna start off. In case you guys hear sirens in the background, I actually have my window open for once because it is the good weather right now. It is sunny, slightly windy, partly cloudy, and the pollen count is down. I'm like, this is the good day. Like, actually, that was something we can talk about. Like, because yesterday, before
we mentioned a little bit that the pre-show on Let's Talk FGO, which isn't quite out yet because we recorded for 2 hours in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But that got a little rambly, and we had to get ourselves under control.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it is
one of the
currently
things we're
77 degrees according to Google, with 80% humidity and a 48% chance of precipitation. It's not raining right now, but I bet it will later.
Well, here in Tacoma, it is a brisk 65 degrees with a 52% humidity and the wind of 10 miles per hour. 0% chance of precipitation. It is a great fucking day.
God, 0.
Now, we were mentioning stuff like this yesterday, and Omega, I can't remember what temperature it was, but Omega was like, oh, that seems a little brisk. I'm like, no. Once you've been here, this is the good shit. This is like the perfect level of what you want. This is where you like wear like a light jacket or like just a long sleeve shirt and you enjoy it. Because that's what I am right now. I'm in a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, I was
Windows
definitely
open.
thinking to myself, yeah, that's definitely... 60s is definitely need a little bit of a jacket weather.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some
But
sleeves.
like,
just
it's
in
one of those
case.
things is like once you get accustomed to like Pacific Northwest weather, a jacket is just part of your everyday life. Like I'm looking over at my rack of jackets. I have like 5 different jackets. All right, so follow me here. So I have a standard just black hoodie. It's not super thick. It's not super thin. It's usually what I wear around spring and fall. I have a sleeveless black hoodie that I wear during the summer. I have a thick black hoodie that I wear during the winter, and I have a work jacket, which is repels a little bit of moisture, keeps stuff off my skin, has a bunch of like nifty pockets. I wear that for work, and then I have a rain jacket, which is just a really thin jacket that's waterproof. And I just like grab those as I need, like throughout the year. It's like
funny. I also think I have about like 4 or 5 pieces of warm wear. I also, in fact, have a hoodie, which when it's winter is basically glued to me. I have a long sleeve flannel shirt, which is like it's a bit brisk and we're going outside, but it's not like fucking cold or nothing. It's just a little windy. I have a windbreaker also, which is just like, it's gonna wind or it's gonna rain, you're going outside, but it's not like, it's not gonna be cold or anything, it's just, you probably want to cover your body up.
Yeah.
And then I have some actual, like, not like thick, but like a winter type jacket, like it's got the coating and the stuff, and it's got the layers to make sure the wind doesn't suck your life away, which is all sized for traveling out of state, because I have relatives in all kinds of wintry places, so when you travel, that means you need to prepare yourself. I also have like an insulated vest as like an extra layer for like, oh fuck, it's actually cold. It's gonna snow and it's like 8 o'clock at night and your dad really needs to go to the hardware store and buy some fucking styrofoam. That's an actual story from my life.
But yeah, so
not just any styrofoam, mine, like big fucking man-sized blocks of industrial styrofoam.
But we're also talking about like over like down at like when he relocates, so when Omega relocates finally up to here to Pacific Northwest, one, as I said, a little bit of a weather change, but 2, he's not gonna have to worry about fuck off storms killing his power like constantly. Like the worst we the worst we have to usually worry about is that we have a disaster level of volcano like just right outside our doorstep that will kill everyone if it ever goes off. Hence, I meant to look up the term for that because it's not so much that because the mountain's Mount Rainier. It hasn't blown in a very long time. But the reason why it makes it so dangerous is not because of the volcano itself, it's because everyone's built around the goddamn volcano.
Yeah, the classic
It's like-
problem of nature.
So
It's not necessarily that lots of people are like it's like living in a flood zone or something on like a beach. Like all those people who got fucked over by like Sandy and other hurricanes that like went up the East Coast. It's not really that it's a huge problem that it's actually going to cause any kind of like lasting infrastructural damage or anything. It's not going to like cause nuclear winter, but you assholes are living right in the splash zone. So
yeah.
like,
so that's
it's like if you live on the beach. Yeah, it's pretty, but you got to understand you're not supposed to be here. The beach is not your turf. Your beach belongs to the ocean, and the ocean will just come and take that beach if it feels like it.
It will. Like this is where you get like legends of like angry sea gods and shit.
Or
There's
the,
very
like,
few
all-
legends of gentle sea gods. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it, most of them are angry in some form or fashion.
Yeah, it's because that's the ocean. That's water. Like, one minute you can be, oh, it's fine, it's beautiful. It's a lovely color that we can't decide whether it's blue or green.
Trust
But
me,
it's
it
one of those
changes.
colors.
I've seen it change. Mm-hmm.
And it's lovely. And next minute, like, oh my god, we're dying. It's raining sideways.
so high?
And why the fuck is this wave taller than my house?
Get fucked, says the ocean.
It's just, that's Mother Nature.
We're also talking about relocating, like, just like, culturally, I don't want to say culturally, but in our interest-wise, Pacific Northwest is, top fucking tier. We got Seattle, we have, like, Portland a couple hours away. Canada's not too far away. We can, like, drive to fucking Vancouver. That's a fucking, day trip. Well, maybe a 2-day trip.
But also, that's up in the, the tech corridor areas. That's like where,
Yeah.
Amazon is HQ'd up that way. Microsoft's got a
Amazon.
really big one. There's a lot of game studios up that way. Like that's
Yeah.
that's in our wheelhouse. As
Yeah,
far as
like
the
we have
show
Emerald
and
City,
the
we
channel is concerned.
have Emerald City Comic Con, we have PAX, we have APAX. I can't remember which one.
Well,
But
what do they call it? Like Prime now? It's the original one because
yeah,
Penny Arcade's based up there.
Yeah.
And hey, in case you guys didn't know, that's what PAX stands for. It's Penny Arcade
yeah,
Expo.
Penny Arcade Expo. But we have SakuraCon, which is not the biggest not the biggest anime convention, but it's in like the top 10.
It's pretty sizable, and it's near it. Albert's gone out of his way to say that it's near and dear to FGO NA anyway.
Yeah.
Which
So
we clarified this, but they did actually, honest to God, post that panel recording. It's a little late for news, but for the sake of completion, that's pretty good that they actually had they had a camera crew out there to camera and they edited the video. That requires effort.
Made it kind of look like them JP streams. Kind of.
That's like what I said when at the time when we were recording Let's Take FGO live, and it was like kind of like going up and down, and I was like, yeah, they meant to post that at some point. You don't go to the whole point where you have a whole YouTube video uploaded and titled and with description and stuff, and you tweet about it, because you can't do that automatically anymore. That's manual.
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't do social media sharing automatically anymore. Every time you see us tweet about it, that means I had to drag my ass over the computer and switch accounts. Because I don't have the for the sake of avoiding confusion, I don't have, and my phone constantly blowing up, I don't have the studio account on my phone, so.
Yeah, I need to switch mine over to my personal one because I keep getting responses. I'm like, is someone talking about me? And it's like, no, it's someone talking about their roles. It's fine to talk about your roles. It's just not what I'm supposed to have my phone for. But so yeah, again, support us on Patreon. That's our life. That's our dream life. Me and Omega together, filming shit, going out, doing things, making content for you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of live action lately. So like the kind of stuff that people do is live action content, I should say. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great someday.
Oh yeah,
just build a consistent base and stuff.
Like, you just have some coffee or something. I get van for a little bit.
No, I'm fine. I do think I want to go grab my water to make sure I'm hydrated though, because I'm a little sleepy. And we're going to be here for 2 hours, so I want to make sure I got my bottle of water. But that'll take me like a half second to cross the room.
Yeah. So while he does that, again, everyone, thank you for listening to What's Up. Again, What's Up is basically the show where we're just going to talk about whatever comes to mind. It's generally unscripted, although usually, like, while we're talking, we might be like, oh yeah, we need to mention this on What's Up, for whatever reason, because, as again, it's just, we go. Expect us to be talking anywhere between 2 and 3 hours. as I said, I'm a little. Ever since I've got over my sickness, I've had this slight cough.
Yeah, that happens sometimes when you get sick.
yeah.
You can have a cough linger for a while until your
Mhm.
body gets all the shit worked out.
Yeah.
I just realized I had tabs staring at YouTube, and I'm like, no, let's not. Let's not get distracted.
Distraction! Let me check here real quick. I was finally able to, get the suggestion box for, Live with Lucky out. It was super late, and it only came out May 2nd, and that was, like, hecking Thursday. That's me, totally always, like, kicking myself, because, as I've told people, I'm ADHD, so if I don't have a reminder to do something, it's really hard for me to remember to do something.
Uh-huh.
And the only reason that I remember to do it is because I got I was checking my emails, and I got an email from Patreon saying, like, hey, we're gonna be doing that switchover soon. Everyone who has, like, a thing now is gonna get grandfathered in, but if not, oh well. So I was like, oh shit, I better, like, just in case one day I want to, like, do something separate from StudiOmega for, like, whatever reason. I kind of want to make sure that, like,
yeah, you get locked in. Like, we should have made sure to tell Ron to do that, because Ron, our buddy is he's been not much lately, so I don't know. Maybe he's got better conditions, but he's been going back and forth about whether he wants to continue his shitty dead end blue collar job and go freelance. And like, we probably should have recommended to him that he sign up for a Patreon for art stuff, because I think artists are well in that wheelhouse on that Patreon.
Oh yeah, I'm about to like go. I'm thinking I'm gonna go support Cute Sexy Robots. They are a really good artist that posts their stuff on Twitter. They just did a shoot in Doji. It's good. I might go support them. But yeah. So I made me a Patreon. Like, nothing's on it like right now. It's called Lucky Stuff. So it says is creating arts and games, because I'll probably get into this a lot more tomorrow with Live with Lucky. But games are something I definitely want to do.
Remember how before the show yesterday we were talking about stuff we wanted to do? That was Omega from, like, I want to say 12 to about 17.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to actually go to college.
Yeah. So maybe, like, if things get good, who knows? Maybe I'll start a side thing. But point is, I was making this and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't made the fucking suggestion box. So, I had to log out of my Patreon, log in, do it. And right now, it has no comments. Some people have actually gone and says, like, they have ideas, they just might have to phrase them. They're working on the phrasing, or that they're going to save it for the Q&A session that we're going to be doing.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different problem. That is not like laziness. That's like, okay, well, we have to find 10 minutes to record because there's like one question from last month. But I don't want to start a new thread for questions without resolving the old question first, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe we can, like, store them up.
Yeah, I was thinking about if we wanted to, like, roll them together. I don't know. I mean, this audio will be out for patrons early when we're done, so hey, if you're a patron listening to this, let me know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Because I know I said that we do it every month for the number of questions, but we did also only get one question, so, like, if you don't mind...
Maybe we need, like, a 3-question minimum?
We can, like, roll them together and be like, okay, because... That's the problem with doing the Q&A thing, is like, okay, we'll do it at any level, but then we have to, like, find time in our recording schedule to be like, okay, we need just 5 minutes, but also then I need to, like, edit and export the audio, which...
Axa is in our Patreon chat saying, I just don't have any questions to ask you guys.
That's okay, don't feel obligated. That's just a bonus thing we did. We decided to do it because we have lots of patrons, so we're like, let's open this up. If people want to ask us stuff, they can. And the first one did okay.
See, Axe has gone to say, like, I don't find enjoyment in asking very personal stuff.
That's good, Axe, by the way. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if necessarily that we get enjoyment out of answering very personal stuff, like anecdotes or personal life stories. That's like every asshole with a podcast. But so that's pretty normal. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. But Axe, I do want to remember you. There is a question that you have asked me that I have refused to answer several times. And if you can remember it and ask it, I'll answer it.
But anyway, what was I thinking about? We were talking about Q&A stuff on Patreon. Anyway, we're going to do Live with Lucky. Hopefully some people would do the thing and get the suggestion. I don't know, there's some people who are curious about it.
Yeah.
If you want to think about what's more appropriate, basically, Patreon Q&A is if you're a patron, and you just ask us a question that's got either a simple or a long-form answer that you want us to answer. That's what that's for. If you want to get Lucky started on a topic where he's going to ramble for like 30 minutes, that's Live with Lucky.
Yeah.
Like, you are prompting Lucky to just talk for however the fuck long he feels like it, which will be forever.
Yeah. I think most of both times I've done the solo has been like, what, at least 2 hours?
Yeah.
2 hours of this voice, which a lot of people seem to like. It seems weird. I don't understand it. Never understand it. But whatever. I'm here to deliver additional content.
Play Borderlands or something. We run the audio.
Yeah. So speaking of playing,
well, first of all, Axe is asking if it's because we are recording on May the 4th. If we're going to do any Star Wars tangents, no, not really. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit surprised, but it doesn't seem like anybody's got any news. So like, there's nothing really new Star Warsy to talk about.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about like the trailer and all the other stuff. I keep up on regular videos for like announcements and whatever out of like Fantasy Flight. So it's like
I think like Fallen Order got like a new trailer or something.
Did it? Well, maybe I'll check that out. But I'm still okay-ish on that game. I haven't seen anything about it though. I feel like that should have crossed my.
Hang on, I recall seeing something. Oh no, it was just a gameplay revealed. Was scheduled for EA Play 2019.
No, they just
somewhere
they announced that they're going to make an announcement.
Yeah, that's
no, Axe. That's why would I do that? I mean, we could try and do some May the 4th integration, but I already did the Rise of Lucky. I got my brand integration. There's fucking lightsabers on that. That was when it was hot. Here's the problem. If there's no new news about Star Wars on May the 4th, especially considering this episode's not actually going to come out on May the 4th, there's no branding to be done there. There's no, like, clicks or stuff. I'm not going to catch anybody on a secret search or something. This episode's not going to come out live for a couple days, so everybody will be past it.
Mm-hmm. So,
But you mentioned games.
Speaking of games, like, I want to get this out real quick, because we were wondering about it a little while ago. May PlayStation's Plus games have come out. So, originally there was a leak that Metal Gear Survive was going to be one of the games, and both me and Omega were kind of like,
Is that worth it even if it's free?
Yeah. And it turns out that was not for the North American region. That was for the Asia region. They're getting Metal Gear Survive.
Well, maybe it'll be popular over there.
Maybe. For over here in the North American region, what we got was What Remains of Edith Finch and Overcooked.
Shit, Overcooked.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to download that.
Yeah.
Will my computer explode if I try to record that with you?
No.
Probably. My PC doesn't really like doing anything else when I use the capture card.
Oh, we might have to give it a try.
We might try streaming it. I really don't think we could like record it and also play it and stuff. I can capture card it. The problem is my PC's gonna eat itself. The capture card takes a lot of juice when you run it. I don't run anything else with it, and it's already finicky sometimes. As some of you may have noticed, there are occasionally episodes with like the audio trips out or it drops frames and stuff.
Another reason why we need to get Omega up here, because I guess I'm just literally one motherboard from having a better computer. And I am like 110% sure that my current computer is probably better than what Omega is
probably
using right
mine
now.
Was refurbished and it's a couple. I mean, like it's a machine that was designed to run Windows 7 Professional, which has worked out pretty good for me. But that's still a little outdated now, and it hasn't been upgraded or anything. It's a few years old, so.
Yeah. So again, another reason why we're trying to consolidate so we can pool resources. But
you get like a dedicated capture machine.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that means you don't have to buy a capture card, because I have the
Yep. We'll have like literally multiple
PS. Game Capture HD right here.
Mm-hmm. We'll have like 2 PS4s, a Switch, like a couple PS3s. I have like an N64.
We'll have some
PlayStation 1,
some
PlayStation
libraries. I don't know if it works with the capture card. I got a Super Nintendo.
I was like,
not like the classic. I have an actual, honest to God, Super Nintendo with some cartridges.
I miss mine. But like as I said, like once we like pool the resources, guys, we'll have like a lot to work with. Like honestly, it's kind of surprising. But speaking of the games, like I've heard good things about What Remains of Edith Finch. I'm gonna play it. I'm also interested in Overcooked. But the only problem is, and On this article, I see something that completely what's the word I'm thinking of? Justifies my feelings. I don't think I want to try Overcooked solo.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it's a solo game. It's a co-op game. You need other people to do stuff, and that's the thing. I don't even know if it's. I've only ever seen people play it 4-man co-op.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't even know if you and me is enough dudes. We can give it a try though. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. So let's see here. It comes out. I think they're out now. It might be. I don't know.
It's the 4th. I don't know. It's a weekend. They might.
But again, I'm kind of glad that we got these instead of Metal Gear Survive, because as much as I love like survival crafting games, it's just I don't know. It just feels like Metal Gear Survive. They just basically
it's such a catch. It's such a cash grab. It's fuck. Kojima's leaving. Metal Gear Solid 5 is good but unfinished, right? Like,
yeah.
But clearly, they must have spent all that fucking money funding him to make the Fox engine, which is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal game engine. So they're like, can we just shit something out on this engine and try and turn our money around? And the answer is no, because nobody wanted to fucking buy it because you're assholes, Konami. Like, that's the whole thing, is they were... You know, like we've talked about how some game studios are like a little tight on the crunch, or maybe they're a little delusional. Bioware magic. But there were points where the Kojima Productions team was like sequestered and, you know, not allowed to use their phones or their personal email and stuff, and like other horror stories like that, which you don't hear a lot of over here. Like they were in a bad way. Kojima was clearly not happy and was super glad to ultimately leave, even though it cost him probably a couple of good game projects. Rip Silent Hills.
Rip Silent Hills, Rip Zone of Enders, Rip Metal Gear.
Yeah, rip the third act of Metal Gear Solid 5. R.I.P. Zone of Enders 3. That's a big rip. And like I said, R.I.P. Silent Hills. But we got Death Stranding.
Man,
that'll be a thing.
Yeah, but people, like, real talk, a lot of people were on board for Silent Hills.
Well, I mean, did you ever play PT or watch people play PT?
I watched people play PT.
Same.
That is a game, that is like, that was a legitimate terrifying game.
No, that was a solid presentation that was, like, really weird and thematic, but it had all the things, right? Like, it had it had the scares, the subtle horror, the weirdness, and the other weird shit. And I know that Silent Hill is a very... Well, at its best anyway, because I know that there are people who are Silent Hill fans who have, you know, very mixed opinions about how that entire series is, like just about anybody. Mm-hmm. Not every franchise can be Metal Gear Solid, where every game is gold.
Yeah. Let's see. I've played Metal Gear. I mean, I've played Silent Hill 1, 2. Have I beat I think I beat up through 4 of Silent Hill.
I never have. I haven't actually physically played a Silent Hill, though. I've seen some played through, and they seem interesting, and they've got, like I said, they definitely have a more psychological bent.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy them. Because they're more psychological, and they still give you some fucking agency, which is good. Mm-hmm. Even if I have to just, like, beat off Zombo Dog through the lead pipe, I enjoy that. Like, right. I don't have to just run from them.
Have an interest... So, I think with Kojima's love of movie tropes, right, and cinematic stuff... Mm-hmm. And, like, letting him do full-blown horror stuff.
Along with, good old Guillermo del Toro.
And they looked like they were getting some actual, like, Western influence in there.
See, like what I really liked about PT in particular is, there was no... all you could really do is walk around and look at things.
Yeah.
But that's all you really needed.
Right.
Because, honestly, there was no...
a seamless experience, right? There was no real UI or anything, but you just... if you see people play that, it's perfectly natural. You look around, you look at stuff. Some people really don't want to look at stuff, but, you know, they go anyway.
Yeah, but I think, like, one of the things was, like, behind you. Like, someone just whispers, behind you. And then, like, you turn around, you see nothing, you turn back, and it's just like...
There was also really good use of the PS4 speaker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, probably one of the best uses aside from the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, where it's just, like, you hear random spooky giggles, and you're like, okay, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I know. So it's like that, like, lack of agency was fine because there was no monsters to run away from. It was all just you investigating something. You didn't need any additional gadgets. Like,
and I think it can be said. Well, like, obviously, like, some people were concerned it would be too investigatory, but I think Resident Evil 7 took a lot of cues from what people liked about PT.
Oh,
they
yeah,
were like,
definitely.
Oh, yeah, we're making a first-person Resident Evil. Because then we can put it in VR.
And I think
it's
a lot of people
super
say, like,
spooky.
Resident Evil 7 is one of those games we're going to play when we get together, because I'm actually pretty sure I'm going to be scared in that game.
Yeah, I've seen multiple people play through it, but even then, I still think, like, there's going to be some shockers in there, because, like,
I'll probably have to take the lead on it.
There's jump scares, and there's some AI. Yeah, I have a really good memory, though, is the problem. Like, I'll remember most of the beats and solutions and stuff.
Yeah, I know, that's why I say, like, that's why I can be like, if I'm playing, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'll be like, shh.
But at the same time, that also means that, like, if you get lost for 10 minutes and we're like, fuck, we'd have to cut this out of the episode, it's like, okay, no, just,
yeah.
You want to go downstairs. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of assholes. But that's the thing also, is that they adapted very well to the combat in first person also. Like, they kept a little bit of that action-y feel, because you can get a couple different weapons and, like, survival and stuff. While they still learned a lot of lessons about how you handle investigating and spooky games in first person. Because I think there was, like, Lucky, you've talked about how you're not a huge fan of, like, Amnesia. Like, there's been a run of first-person games, like Outlast, where it's just like, yeah, you're fucked, run and hide, nerd.
Yeah, you see, and I don't find those games properly scary, because,
Well, yeah, it's not scary, like we've said, it just limits your agency. You can't fucking do anything. That's not scary, that's just, oh, well, that sucks that I can't do anything.
It rackets up your tension, but that's not because you're scared, it's because, oh shit, all I can do is this to try and solve this problem.
Right, the rules don't allow you to do anything else, and you're like, well, that's really limiting and shitty, and I don't want to lose, so... Like there can be tension in some of those moments, and it can be scary where, like, because I've seen people, play Outlast as well, where, like, okay, you're in a chase, right, and it's just... It's not necessarily a puzzle solution, but there's an AI roving for you kind of thing. Like, there can be there's a lot of that tension, even scary, where you're like, oh, he's in the room, shit, is he gonna
look under his
find
bed?
us? Is he not gonna find us? Because then, in that case, you don't know the rules. You don't know what the AI, like, looking for you limitations are. Will they just find you? Will he not find you? If he finds you, it's game over. Probably. Because you can't fucking do anything. But there's that element of, I don't know and understand. When you know something for sure, that's not really scary. So it's like, knowing that, well, if I don't sprint to the end of this hallway and, like, do the button prompts in time, I'm just fucked. That's tense. That's you're under pressure. That's not scary or horror. That's just, like we said, though, that's just, what the rules are, and the rules are you're fucked.
Yeah. Another one I want to talk about this is, we talk about this a lot, but I enjoy talking about agency in games. Dead Space. Dead Space was interesting. I wouldn't say Dead Space is necessarily scary, but it's definitely scarier to me than Outlast and Amnesia.
Well, Dead Space has different kinds, because it's got some of that, like, what you call it, survival
especially
thing.
Dead Space 1. Dead Space 2, I would say, moved from, like, a survival horror to what I like to call action horror.
Right.
Where, you're fighting
it's kind of honestly, it's third person. It's kind of the same basis as, like, Resident Evil. Like, you are a guy who is armed with tools. You can certainly shoot up all those space zombos, but you're gonna be, like, counting every plasma cutter charge, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, is there a guy behind me? Like,
again, I'll tell this to everybody. Dead Space is the game that made me make sure to always shoot corpses.
Yeah, always shoot corpses, and you always look sideways at a vent, because every time you see a vent, you're like, is there a guy coming through that vent? I don't know.
And that is part of, like, the scary tension, because that's not the game necessarily getting you, it's yourself getting you.
Right, that's the thing I talked about with not knowing. You don't know in Dead Space if you climb into an elevator. Like, maybe if you played the game a lot, you memorize the beats, or sometimes because it's a computer game, there's, like, oh, the spooky music is playing a little prematurely, I bet something spooky is going to happen. But otherwise, when you climb into an elevator, you don't know. Is there a guy going to jump to the bottom of this elevator? I don't know. And sometimes the game will just throw shit at you when you're at low tension, just to fuck with you. So, yeah, that's that not knowing aspect of horror. And scariness, right? Like, that's an actual, like, what's gonna happen for sure? I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. I won't say,
the biggest spookums in that game is, I can't remember what it's called, but the tentacle arms that you just shoot out, and, like, if you get to the end, you're done, because those come out of nowhere. That's literally around a corner. They shoot out and grab you, and you're like, fuck.
Like,
and
I only like
the
half played
first
Dead
time
Space,
it
but
happened,
it is on our
you were
channel,
like-
and I think I screamed.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Probably.
I might have to go look.
You do a lot of good yells in Dead Space, frankly.
Oh man, I should finish that sometime. I'll look into that.
Yeah, you'll double check. You were having a lot of problems with running your like on-screen capture and filtering and stuff, and your audio at the same time.
If I can get this other computer working, that will be all things.
I'm sure people would love a return to Lucky Plays.
Yeah,
I should record more
for
stuff
those
too.
not to know,
Feel like it. Here's the problem. We're in a bad way. May is a bad month. It's a little bit easier now that I've I've beaten most of CCC. Hey, heads up, Let's Talk FGO is out of date already. I beat Kiara last night after we recorded the show. But now that that's a little bit out of the way, it's not as I still got to push through some hard fights to get all the BBs, but that's mostly out of the way. I think I'm approaching a point of acceptance at the Kizuna Eye collab because hey, guess what? I got the points reward ship and build, so I don't need 8,000 points. I just need to cry because I've built every Kizuna Eye but the gamer one, which was the literal only one I wanted. Thanks, Azure Lane. Maybe I'll concentrate on Manjus now. Now that I've buffed some of my gear and all my units, I wonder if I can do the future story maps more consistently. Like, I was just... Not as much since I don't have to beat all the ships to 3-star it, because obviously I want a 3-star story for gems, but like, it was getting to just be, there's a lot of maps on like 7-4. There's a lot of ships you gotta fight, so it's like a bit of a grind. Now that I've readjusted some of my weapons... Because I did get some genuine advice. We've talked a little bit before how we don't really like meta talk because it really does suck the fun out of some of these discussions. But at the same time, there's also like general advice that applies to anything. So when I was voicing my concerns, because we'll probably end up dovetailing into gacha.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about how busy gacha makes us and how, hey, that's our wheelhouse because we have 1.5 shows about that every week. But like there's a sharp difficulty spike in the Kizuna Eye collab. It's quite frankly, it's unfortunate, but it's very much a modern AL event meant for those players in like China and Japan who are like, we've got all the fucking we've got all the super broken meta research ships built, and they're all level 110. You know, nothing you do can hurt us, kind of stuff. Meanwhile, over here in North America, I'm like, I think I've come up with what I think is the one real flaw of Azure Lane, which is there's no what I call instant gratification way to level ships. Like, FGO, obviously, if you do EXP farmings, you buy XPs from the stores or whatever, whether it's in the monthly shop or the event shop or whatever, you can just grab your servant, feed them EXPs, they level. Now, obviously, you got to go through Ascension and stuff, but that's a different subject.
Yeah, Girls Frontline has that too with
combat reports. Like I'm working on 15 right now. I did a run of 3 EXP simulations, which give you shitloads of EXP, and then I turned the surplus EXP into combat reports because I was needed to level up my rifle handgun team really quick. But in Azure Lane, there's no real way for me to control leveling my units. Like, yes, okay, I can put them in lectures, or I can put them in my dorm, and I can feed them the special food. That's still all timers. That means that if I want to actually reap the rewards of that EXP, I gotta wait like 18 hours or whatever. Right? Like, there's no way to just go, this ship I want to use, I really need you to be higher leveled right now. You just can't do that. That's why my Sakura fleet is not like perfect, because I don't have a 3rd Vanguard unit who's really good. Like, I've got Ayanami at like 76, I think, and she's pretty good, but when you're facing like enemies who are like level 90, 100, she's very clearly, obviously, the dead weight in the team. Like, you know, she's the one who's like, okay, everybody is fine but you're at half health going forward kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very much like, I would love to just be able to pour resources in and be like, no, I need you to be at like level 90 right now. I can't do that. Which really frustrates me because when in like the Kizuna Eye collab, there's a difficulty spike, you can't do anything about that. The game doesn't give you the tools to do anything within the purpose of a single event to actually change how good you are most of the time, at least for ship levels. I did talk about this in the community, and they did give me some advice, like make sure all your gear's up at +10. I'm like, okay, I've done a few of those, but then I was like, fuck it, and I like bankrupted myself on some purple parts, making sure as much stuff as physically possible was level 10, and what wasn't was like whatever the maximum on blues you can get. I think +6.
I'm going to interrupt you here real quick. So, talking about gacha game made me remind me that I should probably be working on my Azure Lane. And I had to do my 3 builds. One of my timers came up 4 hours 31 minutes. I'm all like, That's an odd one. Could it be Gamer? No, it was Anniversary Kizuna. God damn it.
You got snaked like I did.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. And by the way, I'm completely out of fucking cubes, too. So it's like I can't even be like, fuck it, I'm done with Kizuna. I'm gonna roll on Children's Day or whatever you want to call it. No, I'm fucking out right now. I can get some more back over the month. And it looks like Bismarck is coming out. So she's a like a rainbow rarity. I'm really hoping that's not a build.
I'm really hoping to.
Because that would be rough. But on the other hand, some people have also said, if she's starting at Rainbow Rarity, that would be pretty weird for them to put her on a build, because what's the percentage chance on that?
She might be like a fucking priority ship, maybe. Something.
No, she would say, because remember because priority is already 5, not 5 stars, it's gold already, right? And they're just called priority rarity. So they would say. So she's definitely like a normal ship that's not a research, but we're hoping it's like, at the very least, hopefully it's like a point exchange that I can kill myself doing, because I really want Bismarck.
Yeah.
Because Bismarck is her design is super cool and has been for forever.
Yep.
But like that's the unfortunate thing. Like, we really like Azure Lane. Azure Lane's really good. It's just sometimes here in the English version, goddamn, they're pretty fast paced. Like, they're just dumping new shit and old shit on you all the time, and it's like, God, I don't even know what's up and sideways. I do appreciate the fact that they're trying to like get us caught up, but literally us trying to do this collab and get Belchan. Oh yeah, the Belchan thing's completely bullshit.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even sure I can physically do that, because I'm not even in like chapter 8 yet. Like, I could be, I just haven't been trying to work on it. But I'm not even in that zone yet. Like, what? There's no like triple.
I will say
also like some people have called it out. It's not like the event for the special Saratoga skin, where you got those fucking drops for everything, event missions, story missions, whatever. That event was beautiful because you got the currency fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm. We were doing Steel Stained Sakura with it, and you get your fucking you can get the I can't remember what they're called, but you would get both drops on the map. You're just like, oh, okay, it was some kind of awesome
amulet, but yeah, you got the Ama things or whatever, the purple tags, and you also got the Jagu currency or whatever it was, and it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool,
sweet.
Yeah. Why isn't everything that cool?
So it's like, this combined with, because again, like, Azure Lane, specifically the North American version, has kind of addressed this. They've extended the,
they gave us more time. We're also, the next patch is going to be, they specifically delayed research for us for stability, but we're going to get that soon.
Yeah, so we're still going hard on it, but I do enjoy that they're at least trying to address the concern a bit.
Yeah,
So, we'll see. I don't know. Over in Girls Frontline, though, I haven't started Deep Dive yet. I take that back. I did the first map. And I did the first map and realized that this was story related to after some shit had happened in later chapters. I'm like, oh wait, I want to get this. I want to make sure I have the full story. So I've been going back and actually working on clearing out all the missions. I got the normal mission of, what was it, chapter 8 done? And then it says the story continues in chapter 8, Emergency. I'm like, God damn it. So I'm still not fully there yet, but I will be. Thankfully, Deep Dive they give you a lot of time.
Yeah, this is one of the few things that's beautiful about Girls Frontline. Deep Dive lasts basically the whole month. I'm pretty sure I can make it through, like, even if I end up just using some of the month to just, grind out levels, I'm pretty sure I can do all of chapter 2 at least and get, like, all the bonus T-dolls and then go back to chapter 1 to farm for OTS 14. Because she's a random drop on that one.
Like,
1-2.
As I said, so, like, as long as, like, I feel like
1-2, pathetically easy. Actually, I was shockingly surprised. The requirements, at least for the first 2 chapters, aren't really that rough. Like, I didn't even have to use my most powerful echelons to beat chapter 1 and get Clin. Yeah, it's pretty easy to cruise through.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've heard of some story
a little tougher. Like, I wanted to round out and make sure I 4x'd my rifle handgun team, and then they're like, okay, so map 2 is weird. It's a night map, but you have to take an HQ and beat a boss. So you want some kind of like weird machine gun night AR team, and I'm like, Okay, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm tired today. I'll deal with that. I'll figure out what the fuck you mean by that tomorrow. You want a machine gun? You want a night AR team, which I believe means swap one of your ARs for a handgun, so you have night accuracy. But also you need to put an MG in there, and I'm like, where the fuck do you put the MG in that? Are you still calling it an AR team even though there's only one AR in it? Is the machine gun replacing one of the SMGs? I'm not sure. I'll ask Camper later what the fuck they mean by that. But I'm like, I'm too tired to deal with this today.
See, and this is something I mentioned a few days ago, in our gacha game chat. I'm starting to feel like the reason we get these hard as dick events sometimes is because players go in, they establish the meta, they share the meta, and now that since everyone is bringing out these badass fucking teams, the company feels that they have to increase the difficulty to maintain the challenge.
Well, and also I'll say this: like, here's your difference between Chinese development and Japanese development. When FGO releases an event, they don't tell you jack shit about it. They don't spoil anything. They don't acknowledge that you know the entire event ahead of time, even though you do. You have 2 years of foreknowledge. They don't do any of that shit. They will post tips every couple of days out of the thing and just run everything like normal, like it was brand new to you. Girls Frontline fucking, when they announced Deep Dive has started, hey, if you wanna do good and beat those maps, here, go to, well, let's see, what's the exact website, because I have their bookmarked. Go to the guide on GFL Corner. Here's a direct link to the fucking event guide made by, I assume, fans. And I'm like, there's a big difference here. You guys are just like, oh, we already know that you know how to beat this event perfectly. Here's the fucking guide. We're not gonna bother trying to teach you shit. You guys have already solved this problem. It's like, it's incredibly transparent and forward, but at the same time, it's completely lazy and hands-off. It's like, fuck, we don't need to teach you shit. You guys already figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
And now, on the one hand, the guide is written wonderfully. It has gotten me to S rank every map so far. And I'm like, and like I said, it's so far the requirements it's calling for haven't been too bad. Like, I think I might not even need to do any dumb shenanigans with my my teams for 2-2, because I'm like, I'm actually pretty comfortably striking at these maps. But it's sure helpful. But at the same time, it's like, god damn, that's so fucking lazy of you. Make an event that's fucking intuitive to figure out, right? Just do your due diligence in game desigin. Make it so that I can learn by doing.
No, because guess what? People have already solved the fucking code.
No, exactly. That's what you're saying. It's like they're just at the point like, listen, you fucking figured it out. Because the screen caps for the guide are all in like Chinese or Korean or something. I don't remember which. I don't think it's Japanese, but I don't remember which character set it is. But it's like,
but here's the thing: like, as long as the event has already come in ahead of time, people are going to people know already. They're going to play it. They're going to post it. They're going to share it. And then guess what? Well, it's just like, well, we could have made an attempt, but they're just going to fucking. I said just because they have
you
the
have
tools to
you
share.
have a dumb tier list and all that other shit. This is something I'm glad about like the FGO community. Now that I haven't even heard about the meme list in a long time, but the FGO community accepts that any attempt to tier list the game is a joke, right? Like it's funny to them. It immediately becomes they call it the meme list. It immediately becomes a meme because the way FGO is set up, that kind of comparison is ridiculous. It's like, okay, sure. No, Merlin's really fucking good. Jelter's really fucking good. Scotty's really fucking good. Hey, you know what Scotty did? She made a lot of units who weren't good, super fucking good. So there was no point in classifying anybody until then. It's like the game is constantly changing every time they do something interesting, which is something I will say. I don't feel like this is a problem we've talked about with like Girls Frontline and Azure Lane. I don't feel quite as attached to some of these units as like a mechanics way. Like, I barely understand how the mechanics of some of these teams work. And quite frankly, the game doesn't seem to care. Like when Camper talked me through building an actual AR team, like how you're supposed to do, apparently, at least, what the solved metagame is. If you go to the game theory and you look for the solved solution, it's do the AR SMG team formation. It's like, yeah, just put any of those in there. You've got a decent level on M4 Carbine, put her in the center because she's a good leader. Put somebody who you've got a really high level UMP-45, she's a tank, put her in the center, so she's the focus. I'm like, okay. Like, that's all the input he gave me on what type of unit I needed to put where. He saw that I had a couple of higher level units and was like, okay, that type of unit has a more, like I said, tanky ability, put them there. And that's it. That's all that mattered. he would have suggested that to me if I'd had any unit who remotely resembled a tank to put in that slot. With FGO, team comp is everything, right?
Yeah.
With AL, now there's some real power combos in AL, and I understand that there are some really, meta units who are like really good, and they'll just do forever. But I don't necessarily see how or why some of those reactions come out, right? Like, I can understand the bonus. Nagato's obviously really good with a Sakura team. That's at least self-evident. You see that she's like Queen Elizabeth. She has a huge boost. She boosts all Sakura ships.
Have you seen her barrage, her extra barrage?
No, I haven't. I unfortunately haven't begun using Nagato because I got Bullen blocked. She's stuck at level 70, and I'm like, shit.
Oh. Her barrage literally covers the whole screen. I mean,
perfect. I knew. Well, then all my prototype Bullens are going to Nagato until she's done because.
Well, yeah, like her barrage skill, like she fires her guns and she has a chance to fire it, covers the whole fucking screen. You're just like, whoa!
There's that big 7.
Every fucking time. Yeah, big 7.
Which, I mean, that kind of makes sense. The ship Nagato is based on, it's part of the Big 7. It was one of the biggest fucking post-treaty sets of naval guns you could put out there, and the Japanese fucking cheated the shit out of that treaty.
Yeah.
Lots of people did too, but the Japanese were especially. In case you were wondering why the IJN was such a pain in the ass to it, it's because they totally cheated the naval treaty. We cheated the treaty by pivoting to carriers.
But like you're mentioning that, like right now, like I said, I mentioned it several times. I don't use guides. I don't use meta. I basically play a game.
No, I don't really either. I just ask players, and some of them yell at me like, "Why are you being such a dumbass?" I'm like, because I don't care. I have the tools I have, guys. Like,
yeah,
I'm not playing this game to be really good at it. I'm playing this game because it's full of fucking adorable ships, and Kizuna has a fucking fuck you line. And that's all I wanted.
But like, I don't like relying on guides because I'm gonna preface this by saying I feel like this is a personal opinion, and this is just how I feel. Do not take it as like I'm shutting down anyone else. But I feel that like immediately starting to rely on a guide basically deprives you of problem-solving skills, of developing problem-solving skills. Because, like, as I said, Omega, no, not Omega, like, me going through Girls Frontline, I basically kept trying things, I kept doing things, I kept switching out ships, I kept, like, moving things around, finding something that works, and I've reached at my current level. I have 2 echelons that are, they each have, like, between them have, like, I want to say, like, 7 level 100s, and they're fairly decent ships. I like them. They're good. I have, like, my WA-2000. She got a ring on her. And, like, my best echelon only makes 3,400,000,
The power level is only 34.
Yeah, 3,400,000. The meta teams, because I actually had to pull out a friend echelon, and I just grabbed the first one, had the rifle team, the meta rifle team, which is M14, WA-2000, Wilrod, 5.7, and Contender. They were just all level 100, and they were all they all had rings on them. Probably had like really good equipment.
Right? Because here's the unfortunate thing about the game is they want you to buy rings because that gives you more stats.
Yeah, that power level was 4,400 K. Yeah, 44. Yeah, 440 K combat efficiency. That's a big difference. So, yeah, so this is the thing. If people have access to, who use guides and, gather resources, can get power levels that much higher than people who just, try to figure things out on their own.
And of way more than me, who's just like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. The game doesn't necessarily. Well, the game punished me at points, but it doesn't necessarily teach me anything when it does it. So, I'm maximum cruise. I was maximum cruise control in Girls Frontline. Now I think I have my shit together. And hey, guess what? I own or I'm gonna own all those units you mentioned. So at some point,
I have all those.
If I ever wanted to be like, okay, Girls Frontline, you're just trying to fuck with me, so I'm just gonna fuck you. I've done that with FGO, for instance, before, where I'm just like, yeah, I happen to own Merlin Jalters, so if you're trying to be a dick to me, I'm just gonna fucking kick your teeth in.
Yeah, again, I'm someone who enjoys the journey to figuring out my optimal solution.
Right. And you, I think, got a lot more enjoyment out of being more experimental with Girls Frontline, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I'm saying, like, this is just my personal, this is how I feel. This is why I don't like doing guides, because if I do not solve this problem on my own, that means I did not, like, actually solve this problem. I relied on someone else. My formation is literally a cookie cutter of someone else's design. That is not my echelons. That is that person's echelon. See, at that point, it's, like, I don't like that. This is not a journey between, like, my, like, units and me. No, I just went and borrowed someone else's idea. Like, that's a cookie cutter. Like, and, like, again, I don't like that. So I don't like using guides. I don't like using the meta. If by chance, because, like, I've been doing this in Azure Lane, if I find a combination that is, like, really fucking good, that is, like, top meta, but I found it out on my own, yeah, that's fine. That's whatever. It's all, like, it's literally just two paths reaching the same conclusion. But otherwise, I'm just like, I don't want to do it.
And honestly, I will say, though, like, I'm sure there's obviously, like, yeah, if you just take a tier list at face value and cram all those T-dolls together, that makes a good team. But, like, there is, I think, some freedom to be, like, when Camper told me, oh, no, what people mean when they say an AR SMG team is, like, 3 ARs in your back row and then 2 in your, like, okay, there's a lot I can do with that. And actually, I've moved around who's in what slots before in some of those teams. Like, that's just that's just what I find.
But you go to the same tier list, and you're going to find those ratings of, like, oh yeah, no, this
no,
one's
like,
shit. Don't
obviously,
use that
if you
one,
look too deep in that, they'll just be like, oh yeah, and half those T-dolls you're using are shit. And I'm like, well, okay, don't be an asshole to me. But I think just the gentle idea that, like, no, the game's actually lying when it tells you to do fancy formations, like, because I can accept that as, like, no, the game's just, like, the game tells you it wants you to do this, but it doesn't actually care. Right?
No, I think it does. It's just that the fact that people broke the damn meta and they were just like, well, fuck.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. I don't think that like, for casual content, maybe it actually, no, it doesn't. Like, I think it's just, the point is that it's at a point where, like, oh, obviously, formation bonuses, they want you to put certain guns here for this and that and the other thing and, like, be really clever. I think that, like, what players realized is that the way the actual code underlying the game is set up is that didn't actually do anything to make it worth bothering with, like, that extra level of tactical thinking, right? Like you look at it closer and you're like, oh, you say you care about this, but what this actually gives me doesn't really matter, right? Like, you can just, more often than not, the way they works fine in this formation anyway. And hey, if we're wrong, let me know. Like, that's just what I picked up on, is just that, like, the cutesy little formation bonuses are, like, something extra on top, but if you just have decent enough units, or you just have units of the right type which work well together, that doesn't actually matter.
Like, let me bring up my formation here. Like, my main team right now is an SMG, 2 ARs, a handgun, and a rifle. Like I said, this is my main team right here. It's
and somebody would probably call, like, if people were being tryhard, they'd call you out for, oh, you have so many different types of guns.
Yeah. But, like I said, it's 34K.
Yeah, no, I'll say this. I think part of the reason why I switched to actually, like, quote-unquote play in the game as, like, people say you're supposed to play it was just because I was having such a, like, you got ahead of me in the experience, like we said, figuring out some stuff on how to level a little bit faster than me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I was well leveled, like, stats-wise, I don't think you're gonna have any problem running deep dive. Like, at least up to where I am at, and past where I'm at. Like, I don't know if maybe, because, like I said, there's that boss thing in number 2 where it's like, maybe you want to include an MG for damage, where it's like, okay, there might be a situation where, like, you need a really high damage output, for instance. Which I don't necessarily know, because I'm trying to think, like, because rifles do damage, but they don't necessarily do it at a fast rate. But at the same time, you're also really high level, you'll probably be fine. For me, it's like, okay, I need to find an efficient setup to, like, maximize my units to actually do what win fights at the level I'm supposed to, because otherwise, I think power level numbers in GFL are a lie. They're absolutely lies.
Yeah, like they're weird. They're definitely weird, because, like,
well, I went in... bigger numbers don't necessarily mean better. I have won fights against units which should be much harder with different team setups in the right moment, or I've had levels where because they're a different type of enemy mob, even though they're, like, significantly lower level, they've still done a fuck ton of damage to me, and I'm like, why the fuck are you such a pain in the ass?
You see, here's the thing, because actually I'm going to bring this up. So, in chapter 8, I want to say, you fight fucking Dreamer again. I hate fucking Dreamer. Dreamer is the one who basically shoots you from a very long ways away. You literally have to run up to her. Highly recommended that you don't have the cloaks on your sniper rifles because it makes you run slower. So in chapter 8, the final boss, you basically have to run up to her. The echelon that I thought like it was gonna be like last time, and I'm gonna have to like basically sacrifice an echelon to basically whittle her down a little bit so I can take her out with my main one. That wasn't the case. Because even though she was a higher combat effectiveness than me, she had a bunch of minions with her, which I think was basically what boosted her level up.
Right.
And since I was able to take those out quickly and get to her quickly enough without losing my main tank, I was able to push her down. It was still a close call, but I still basically beat the boss with a underpowered echelon.
Right. And
so that's the thing. It's like I don't understand how they divide up combat effectiveness between your units and enemy units. That's the thing I don't understand. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure,
and like I said, now obviously on my main team, my combat effectiveness is slightly up because hey, fun fact, at least the quote unquote meta, like the F formation, that does actually mean that a lot of your units are in the right place to get their bonuses to overlap. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
Like, it does also happen to work somewhat with formation bonuses, but, like, I would have a handgun in my main team. The game yells at me about combat effectiveness. It's like, oh, your combat effectiveness is shittier because you don't have a handgun in here right now.
I think,
But at the same time, it's
I
like...
think they yell about that because that is that casual level general play that they wanted you to do.
But, at the same time, I feel like even though maybe my combat effectiveness is not as sharp as it could be, the unit still punches well into its weight class now.
Yeah.
Like, it just does better.
Like, again, I think originally they wanted to have, be able to, oh yeah, these are the recommended
and honestly, like, if you're talking, like, high-level strats, like I said with, like, the talking about the guides to the event maps, it's like, a lot of them are suggesting stuff that's like, oh yeah, if you want to do this more efficiently, you could switch around some stuff and, like, tuck in a handgun into this AR team to make them more night efficient. Hey, guess what? I didn't do that, by the way. I just gave them my AR's pecs and just went for it, and I was sufficiently grossly over-leveled for, like, the 2 nighttime fights they did versus, what have you called the little dog drones?
Yeah, ever since,
that
Arctic
was way
Warfare,
easier, because the team that does the bulk of the work in that map I did that on 2-1 is your rifle handgun team, because they have to fight. The map's actually got a very convenient division. You'll see this when you get there. There's, lucky, without even needing a guide, if I show you a map and you're like, there's a shitload of those armored enemies on one half of the map and there's a bunch of regular enemies on the other half of the map and you have 2 heliports to put enemies in, you're going to put your team that's got more rifles or more anti-armor focus on the side of the heliport that's going to go into the armored guys. You just know that instinctively anyway. So yeah, that's the echelon that ended up doing a lot more work. So I'm glad I leveled those guys. But at the same time, it's like, oh, you should, the extra combos was like, yeah, actually, I didn't need to actually adjust my echelon to go into night vision mode. I just...
Oh, I got a new doll. What did I get? Oh, I got type 79. How cute.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been doing construction for a while because I'm waiting for that fucking login. Because honestly, I'm not sure what I'd build for because if I pick contender, it's like, what's my next goal? What do I need? I don't really need anything. I've actually got a handful of units that are like 5-star and lower who would be pretty good to level. So I need to figure that out. But the problem is that my echelons were like, because I talked to one of our community members, Camper Wen, who's our, like, even if you're not doing meta stuff, he just knows a lot of stuff about the game, so he's good to ask for advice. Mm-hmm. And like I asked him, hey, I have a fuck ton of like MGs and shotguns, and they're like really good units. I have multiple gold shotguns. Like, do I want to do anything with them yet? And he's like, no, first get your shit like leveled up to an appropriate level, because obviously I am lagging behind in that with your AR teams and rifle teams first. Then we'll talk like,
oh, I guess
what's a shotgun MG combo?
My second echelon is actually an AR team, I guess, because ever since Arctic Warfare, I was like, man, I need to have a dedicated night team. So I dug through my dolls, and I remember people saying like that
well, OTS like and 919A, who was in my AR team that I used, so that was probably what made it a night AR team. But they both have abilities that proc at night, like a lot of handguns do. So that's like the quintessential.
Yeah. So I basically threw those 2 in there, and then I have Grizzly, SR3MP, and Thompson. So, oh no, it's not an AR team because I have a handgun in there. Well,
Well, that's what they call a night AR team. Funnily enough.
Oh, I guess so.
It's weird.
Huh. See, this is what I mean. Like, I came to this conclusion on my own. I didn't need a guide for that. Okay, I'll take that back. I did use the information that I heard offhand about OTS and 9A, 9S, but like it wasn't something that I went fishing for. It's like something I heard. I don't know. Does that count offhand? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. But yeah. So it's just like. Like, I understand some people want to use a gun because these things are hard, and not everyone enjoys that, because, like, I think we mentioned it last week, people just want the most efficient way to get it done. They don't want to waste their time, necessarily. We live in a very high, hectic-paced lifestyle. Like, even if you're sitting around, like just, browsing the internet, do you realize how quickly you guys will scroll through things, open up new tabs, check social medias, do stuff, like that stuff? It's like, it's really fucking hectic.
Opening a tab and checking some stuff on the internet right now.
Yeah. That's all, like...
Yeah, no, and, like, so, like, I don't, if we're trying to say that we don't fault people for, like, wanting that most efficient payoff, because we don't.
No.
Like, that's what
like,
I did. I was like, I'm getting tired of getting my ass kicked by girls frontline. Hey, camper, what am I supposed to, I joked, what does the game want me to do that it doesn't necessarily tell me? And he's like, okay, do this. And I'm like, oh, hey, this actually works pretty good, and it uses some units I actually like. Like,
okay,
my rifle, I'm not completely meta, because my rifle team has one... Probably what some people would call dead weight. I have one X3 doll who's at like level 50. All the others are level 70. But it's Enfield, and I really like Enfield. She's my assistant. If I had a fucking ring, I'd give it to her. Or if I randomly roll her wedding skin, I'll give it to her because I like Lee Enfield. But I'm like, she's in the team anyway.
I forget. I only have one ring. I don't think I bought it. Did I buy it?
You must have. You don't get any free rings. This is an Azure Lane. Azure Lane gave you one free ring, which I used on Hood, and I haven't bought any more. Because as we've talked about, Girls Frontline is like, they need gems for a lot of stuff, and like, you need to basically pay money to have enough gems to buy costume packages.
Yeah.
But for most of your infrastructural stuff, like, I've got like 7 echelons, 4 dorm rooms, I've got 150 T-doll storage, right? And I still have 200 gems right now. And I've been dumb, and in the past, I've spent gems on stuff like tokens or whatever before I realized that's just bad. Don't do that.
Never again.
Maybe you'll complete mission 2-1 and get like 200 tokens as your first time completion bonus. And you dump all that into the gacha and you don't get anything but some dumb furniture you didn't want. But hey, you tried.
You tried! Gold star!
And honestly, if I had more dorms, I need to buy more dorms just so I can move some of this furniture out, because I've got clashing furniture sets, you know? Like, I've got a shitload of like the game dev furniture, and I'm like, these fucking desks don't fit in any of my other rooms. I need a new room to put more shit in.
I've been using, like, the same, like, dorm sets, like, forever.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, once you get locked in on a set of fashion you like, it's like, no, this is cool. I like this setup. But I also have other new cool furniture, and it'd be like, I wouldn't mind. But AL is just like, no, fuck you. You need more dock space. Every new event is like, you get 5 more ships. And I'm like,
I just pulled a new one. I'm like, god damn it.
Well, and especially when it's, because we're maybe a little bit more completionist than other people are, but it's like, you're not going to get rid of Anniversary Kizuna Ai, right? Even though you didn't necessarily want her. She's going to stay there now. So it's like, fuck, this is a fucking gold unit. Like, that's really rare. That's good. That's not what I wanted, but I'm not going to get rid of it.
Like, here's the thing. Like, the more and more I think about it, I really don't want the Kizuna Eyes. I don't, but every, like, time it's like, do 3, I'm out, like, here I go again.
I wanted on the Kizuna Eye. And I didn't get it, so.
It's like, god damn it.
We'll see if before the event ends I can squeak in a gamer.
I should be rolling for Hiei and fucking Kagi-chan. Fuck.
Yeah, I think I think the Kizuna Eye gacha might have broken me, and I'm just gonna roll special from now on if I get any fucking cubes. Just because, well, I can say that I tried to get those Children's Day ships at least, especially since God knows if I'm actually gonna get Little Bell because the fucking setup on this Maju thing.
Ugh. No Twitter, no, be closed. Fuck.
See, when we're doing shows, I actually usually leave Twitter open, but I have mastered the ability of letting Twitter run in the background.
I have not. Like, I discovered I'm not as great as playing video games and talking as I am, because I do the Aaron Hansen thing happens where I start focusing on talking, and I like it that I call it the Aaron Hansen thing.
Well, yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I was actually going to bring it up, because when you were talking about, this is what I personally like in game design, and I'm not necessarily calling any shit, because that's the one thing that I've decided I don't think I like about Game Grumps, is that the way Aaron's personality is that he makes a lot of high level calls on what makes a game good or not without necessarily saying this is what I like. Like he acts like a lot of his opinions are objective facts, and they're not, bro. Like I can't watch them play Twilight Princess right now. I love Twilight Princess. I bet Aaron's gonna shit on it because he's hated every game since the fucking Super Nintendo. And I'm like, maybe you just don't like new shit, Grognard. But like, I'm like, no, I can't sit here for like 20 minutes and watch Dan not know what he's doing and Aaron just shit on the game. No offense to Dan.
If it was just Dan not knowing what he was doing, but being funny, I can watch that. But when Aaron
I couldn't keep up with Skyward Sword just because Aaron couldn't contain like talking about how shitty he thought the game was. But I'm like, dude, that just means you didn't like it. People like it. People have subjective things. Sometimes people even like bad stuff. There's an art to certain amounts of bad stuff, but also like, but we've also talked about this before, where I think I've mentioned where I feel like coming to the conclusion, watching a lot of Game Grumps and reading a lot of his opinions, Aaron has very specific wants out of game design, and they're not necessarily what people who design games or play games think of about game design. Like, he said before that like he just doesn't pay attention to tutorial messages because the game should teach you by doing. And I mean, obviously, we're not opposed to that. We've just talked about how Girls Frontline doesn't like necessarily teach you anything. It's all trial and error, and that's kind of rough.
And that's one method, But
at the same time, if the game just wants to tell you shit, like, I mean, what the fuck? If you never had to look in a manual, I remember those days. All the time for old Super Nintendo games. Like, you got to look at what you have to open it up and look at the controls. So, like, every time you boot up a PS2 game, and it's like, or heck, even the manuals in PS2 games, it's like, what the fuck do the buttons do? Like, before it became common programming knowledge that you could just adjust what the buttons. So every game has a screen where you look at where you can see the control mapping and sometimes change it. Like, hey, the game needs to give you that information because, if you do a complete 100% natural learn by doing, maybe you never learn to do stuff. Mm-hmm. If the game doesn't prompt you to know, like, there is some organic teaching a game can do, and some of them are very good about that. I don't know if it's anywhere public, but on Rooster Teeth's website, they recently acquired or partnered up with Retro Replay, which is Troy Baker and Nolan North play video games.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is. But you know what's even more amazing, Lucky, is
what?
They are doing something right now called Uncharted: The Definitive Playthrough, where with Troy Baker, who played all the games, Nolan North is playing Uncharted for the first time as himself.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
It is amazing. They got like 3 episodes out. I don't know if they're public. Let me double check.
By the way, just for those who don't know, Nolan North is the voice actor who did Nathan Drake in all the Uncharted games. So
yeah,
I find that amazing.
He's playing through them for the first time. Yeah, okay, they're on YouTube.
Okay, I might have to look at those later. Because just real talk, Nolan North and Troy Baker are cool cats just to begin with. So
yeah, they're great. Like they have great chemistry too. It's
it's like I remember there was a joke that someone asked Troy Baker, "Hey, what do I have to do to get into the voice acting industry?" And Troy Baker responded with, "Okay, so this is what you do. First, you get a microphone, then you get a setup, and then you wait for me and Nolan North to die." And it's just like I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. But yeah, so like, it's super funny, but like they talk a lot about that where like, because obviously Nolan North's never played the games, because hey, guess what? He filmed them all. Like that's like talking about like if we shot a video game, like he's discussing, backstage stories like in the mocap room where at some points Troy Baker is like astonished that like you mocapped this? Like, there's a scene with a Jeep in the first game where he's like, where Nolan North is like, no, by the way, this was a literal Jeep. And Troy Baker's just like, no, really? No, they bought an old-ass Jeep that was super dirty. And we did the mocap in a physical prop Jeep. But they talk a lot about the game design. It's like,
I gotta watch this later.
How naturally it shows you, and the first Uncharted does do that. It actually shows you some of this stuff where it's like, oh, there's lighting on the certain things or certain things that call out. But, oh, there's a little bit of color on this ledge. I bet I can jump up there. I've seen people play like Uncharted 4 where there's a lot more of that, where it's like, oh, all these ledges are clearly marked in white. You can definitely climb those ledges. But there are other controls where it's like, where the fuck would you think to learn that? That like, how does the game let you know it's okay to crouch? It's okay to say crouch in tall grass and then you won't be seen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because that's usually a thing, and you can talk about gamer literacy. You can usually figure that out, but what if your game doesn't actually have stealth? Like, it could just maybe be stealth's not a thing. Maybe the long grass is just artistic because long grass, when you have a good engine, just looks fucking cool.
Yeah,
like, how does the game let you know? It can do completely trial and error where you just have to figure out that you can crouch and get in grass. But
yeah, if I remember correctly, Horizon Zero. Yeah, Horizon. Actually, that's another game I'm gonna make you play. I'm gonna make you play Horizon Zero.
I need to play that game anyway. But that's fine if you want to do that for a thing. It's like I'll fucking play it. I love Guerrilla. I've heard that they're working on a new Killzone for PS5. I'm like, yes, love Killzone.
But in like the Horizon Zero Dawn, yeah, they have that stealth mechanic, but you can only hide in a super specific type of grass. It's like this red grass.
That's the game. That's where the game has to have a tooltip pop up and be like, in this grass, you can fucking hide, because otherwise you don't know what counts unless the game comes out and gives you a little pro tip, and it's like, hey, just so you know, this mechanic operates here. You can make assumptions, but well, first of all, you know what they say when you make assumptions. You make an ass out of you and me. I love that phrase. And it's because it's true. When you make assumptions, you do dumb stuff. Like, so at some point, the game just has to teach you things. It just has to tell you what's true. Because we've talked about this. Hey, not understanding what the rules are is a horror thing. That's a spooky thing, right? Like, that's a thing games do when they're trying to put you off kilter. Most, like, Uncharted or even Horizon Zero Dawn, those are not off-kilter games, necessarily. No, those are, like, action-adventure games.
So, like, going back to, like, the wall climbing thing, like, both in Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn, Omega mentioned it earlier, but in Uncharted, usually, ledges you can jump on, like, have a white mark on them or something. In Horizon Zero Dawn, they're just flat-out fucking, like, painted yellow. Holy shit, it's very obvious. Imagine if those weren't there. How the fuck would you know where to jump? I've played some platforming games like that where you're like, is this a real ledge or not? You don't fucking know. You jump. This is where the term leap of faith comes from in video games, where you jump and you pray that that's actually a ledge.
Lucky you've reminded me. I'm thinking of the original Jak and Daxter right now, which is all platforming, and it's like, yeah, there are some cases where you just don't fucking know. Now, obviously, it's got an unlimited continue system, so it's no real skin off your nose. But that can still be kind of annoying where you're just like, okay, I'm going to double jump. Oh, well, I didn't make it. I guess I'm not supposed to go that way. Whoops. That should be I know that's only on the PS3, but that's like, I have that HD collection. That should be a series we play all at once. I love those games.
Come on.
Dear Naughty Dog, are you going to make more Jak and Daxter? Can you even do that? I know you did a shitty licensing for the fourth one that nobody... Well, technically the fifth one because of Jak Combat Racing. But the fifth one that nobody talks about because it sucked. It was awful.
What was it? It was the second PSP one, wasn't it?
No, it was on PS2. I've got it.
It was on PS2?
It was the Forbidden Legacy, Forgotten Legacy or something. It was dumb. It had lots of flying mechanics, which looked cool, but the game was dumb and I never beat it. I never beat Jak X either, but that's because Jak X was fucking hard.
Yeah. But fun. I love Jak X.
Oh yeah, it was super entertaining. I love to play it multiplayer with like my dad or my friends, but like it fucking kicks your ass. Mm-hmm. But Jak was always that. God, Jak 2 is so hard. And like
it was so good though.
It was really good. I think I like 3 better because they got that polish on it.
They put the polish on it. They added light Jak to dark Jak, and they added some open world.
They figured out some more mechanics. They gave you more guns, which was great. Mm-hmm. Like they tripled up on all the
like from a game that like started as just a run and jump platformer with a silent protagonist. Mm-hmm. Jak and Daxter got big.
Yeah, like I mean, I think that the move from Jak to Jak 2 was obviously GTA is all the rage, whatever. But at the same time, it worked. Because it was like you were kind of growing up with Jak. Mm-hmm. Like I was an edgy teenager when Jak 2 came out, and it was super fucking hard to kick my ass. Mm-hmm. But it was still really good because it did a lot of interesting stuff, and it used a lot of mechanics and ideas from the first one. Like, we had a perfectly serviceable driving engine in the first one. Now you can just drive anywhere, not just in special maps.
Yeah, and it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, I love that game.
And
I
Daxter
was
just its own unique game and was really fucking good.
Yeah, I never got to play that one because goddamn PSP. Naughty Dog's a great studio. They're doing good work. I don't think they've had a fuck up ever.
Actually, I don't think so. I mean, let me check their game list real quick here.
Well, they're working up to Last of Us 2, which reminds me, I need to buy Last of Us Remastered.
I should probably do that too. I think I have like Last of Us for the PS3. But...
I never actually got into it because it was one of those late gen games, and you're like, well, I'm hoping to transition to PS4 sometime, and I did, and I never got around to it.
Let's see.
Everybody has those
Naughty
games.
Dog games. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah, like so the big things that they're known for was Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted. Last of Us. let's see here. They've also done a few other things, like, way back.
Well, yeah.
They've been making games since 1988. Wow. Like games called I don't know any of these games, so I can't actually say they're good or not. Considering how old they are, hit or miss. But like the big things they know for, like Crash Bandicoot. I don't think anyone's ever really said anything bad about Crash Bandicoot.
No, like at worst you might say it's dated because it was old, but then they did the re-release, and yeah, I have heard and seen people play some parts of it are fucking hard. Well, welcome to platformers from the 3D era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because
Jak
and Daxter was definitely a refinement on that formula.
Yeah.
And it was really good, and it's like Jak and Daxter is a beautiful game because like they even said that you see that mountain, you can go there, and you can go to that mountain. The game's laid out really well. It's very open and expansive. You can do all the stuff. I've played it occasionally. You can beat that game in like a day or two.
Mm.
I don't know if you can beat Jak 2 in a day. I'm sure speedrunners have like blitzed some shit out, but like there's a lot to do in that game. But it's really cool about it. And then Jak 3 is just like, yeah, we added even more shit. There's like 2 cities now. There's a fucking desert in between them. You can go whatever. You do whatever. Drive. You like to drive, right? And
check out all these different cars you get. Boing. Have a grasshopper. You can jump real fucking high.
Yeah, you can. It's super fucking awkward. But hey, that's another thing where it's like they have to give you a tooltip because otherwise, if somebody doesn't, like, somebody at least has to communicate that to you, which runs into the Sly Cooper problem where Bentley tells you, jump and press the circle button. Not that I don't love Sly Cooper. What happened to those guys? What are they doing? Where's Sly 5? Because Sly 4 was actually pretty good. It was Sucker Punch, but I think they gave it to a different division for 4.
Well, Sucker Punch I know right now is working on Ghost of Tsushima.
Right. Because they transitioned into making Infamous games for a while.
Yeah. Here's Sucker Punch Production.
So I think they gave it to... Hold on, let me look up Sly 4. Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Developed by Sanzaru Games.
Sanzaru.
Who has done almost nothing until they did the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Interesting.
Huh.
I don't think they
Who knows?
So yeah, what I picked up is that Sanzaru is apparently the game studio you go to when you want to have somebody else make your games. They also built the God of War collection on PS Vita.
Oh.
And they were the ones who took over the Sly collection. So I don't know if they do original games anymore.
Yeah. By the way, talk about how awesome Washington State is. Sucker Punch is based in Bellevue, Washington. Haha. We can actually go to their office, maybe.
Didn't that influence Second Son?
Yeah.
Not that I ever got around to playing it, because I had kind of like mixed feelings. Like, it was okay, but
like, did you? Oh, you might not. I have it on like PlayStation Plus, but I have like Second Son. I have like a love-hate relationship with Infamous right now because I loved Infamous 1 and I loved Infamous 2, except for the fucking ending. I think I've told this story.
Yeah, you probably have.
But
I own Infamous 2, and I really should play it, but it was like on my... It's back on... I want to say PS3, right? Yeah, it's a PS3 game.
Yeah, it's a
The
PS3.
Second Son was a launch for PS4, but like I never went back and finished it off. I don't know, because like I feel like the first Infamous was a really complete experience.
It really was, and Infamous 2 kind of finished it off, but I don't like the ending not because of I'll just spoil it for you because it's been a long time.
I'm pretty sure I remember reading about the ending.
So in the good ending, Cole fucking dies. All right,
right.
In the bad ending, Cole lives but becomes like this fucking despot, like dictator kind of dude. And for the development of Infamous Son, Sucker Punch says they basically looked at the trophy data for Second Son and decided how they would continue on the story based on how many people chose the good ending and how many people chose the bad ending. Wait, so my major thought was like, my only choices for Cole in upcoming things is either he died a hero or he lives a villain. There's no, like, other thing. And to be fair, there is that saying that, you either die a hero or live long enough to see you become the villain. But at the same time, I feel like they could have kept going with Cole and, like, trying to fix, like, this weird world, especially since the end of Infamous 2 had some entering implications of what was happening to the whole of humanity. So I've always been a little bit testy about that. So I've always kind of, like, even though, like, Infamous Second Son takes place in the dear old Pacific Northwest, I think you can, like, literally do your super off the fucking Space Needle. I'm just like, I can't get it. I can't feel it. Can't do it.
Yeah, there's sometimes game developers have done, like, Like the XCOM guys when they were deciding what they wanted to set up the story for. Is it just? I guess it's just XCOM 2. They were like, yeah. So we checked all your Steam achievement data, and the number of people who started campaigns and never finished them is way more than the number of people who completed like for real campaigns. So we're going with the idea that you lost. And I'm like, I mean, on the one hand, you're probably not wrong because XCOM's fucking hard, but like that's a harsh way to collect data. How many people started a playthrough and forgot about it for 2 months and are like, fuck, I don't remember what any of my units are or what research I'm doing. I'm gonna start over.
I still don't think I've beaten XCOM just because I got distracted with something else.
It takes a lot of time to beat XCOM. It's a very long pattern strategy game. I have beaten it several times, but there have been times in my life where I didn't have anything better to do. And I will admit though I haven't beaten XCOM 2, but that's just because I don't know. I did that thing where I tried to make it a interactive thing with the audience, but also I was just like, I don't get any fucking feedback on this. It's like Valkyria Chronicles. I still haven't beaten VC4 just because. Well, first of all, the game really kicked me in the dick, and I'm like, I don't know if I wanna. And then it was just like, also I'm recording this, but nobody fucking watches these, so it's like, why am I bothering to record this? It's not entertaining for you, and the pressure of trying to do it and be funny and entertaining isn't great for me. So.
Well, actually, I can loop this back to my fucking original comment when I was talking about me Aaron Hansening. This is how we tangent people. But I discovered that when I last week when I was playing Legends Era Hyrule Warriors, which is phenomenal. Like I forgot like how amazing this fucking game is.
Yeah, you've been playing it all week.
Yeah. And I realized like I was doing okay at the game while I was talking. But at the same time, I wasn't actually digesting any of the information that I needed to do to actually complete the map. I was just running around killing things. Which is okay, which is alright for the most part, but I remember, we got done recording, I looked at the map, I'm like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, I hadn't lost or anything.
Certain games you can autopilot, but, like, you gotta be careful. And, like, if we were, say, recording that, there would have been points where we would have needed to, like, alright, let's get on track.
Yeah. But, so, again, that's why I'm not doing it right now, so I can focus on talking with you guys. Actually, Omega, what's the mission clock at?
We have been running for, 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 45 seconds.
Alright, we're going okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay. We got a couple other things to talk about.
Yeah. As I said, well, I guess, the ultimate point of this is there are many different ways to approach games and game designs, and particularly there might not be a necessarily right or perfect solution.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot during the accessibility conversation. Where like, no, it's dumb for games to try and please everyone. It's not physically possible. Nothing can please every human. So you need to like pick and choose your design elements and stuff. It was a really interesting conversation.
Same with like on the players. And that also goes for the same on the player's side. If you're like me and you like to go and, like blind, figure things out as you go, that's valid too. But again, that's valid, but it's like, people who use guides and stuff, that's valid too. Even if I don't see eye to eye with you, I'm not gonna like think less of you because you use guides, because Jesus fucking Christ, I'm looking at myself as like, man, I'm really underpowered compared to these other guys. But, you know what, that's how I choose, that's the path I take in life.
Yeah, well, that's a conversation we're going to have when I talk about Dancing in Starlight, which I can do right now, because that's what I've been playing mostly.
Yay, let's hear about that.
I bought it. I bought it because, 90% for, I just was like, I keep hearing and seeing that the dialogue's really good, and I'm like, fuck, I want more P5 dialogue. I love those characters. So that it's really good for, and then I was like, also, I love the Persona music, so one of the songs it has included is the Persona music festival live performance of Rivers in the Desert. Like that's just one of the songs you can play, and I'm like, yes, that's great. That's just on my machine forever, basically. I have this disc. So long as I have power, I can play this disc and I can play that song. What I quickly learned was that, fuck man, I don't know if I have rhythm. So I started playing on normal, and I'm like, oh gosh, this is because I believe it's the same system as P4D, obviously. So P3 and 5D are basically the same engine. But if anybody out there, including Lucky, hasn't like seen these games before, it's like you've got kind of like your left and right side, like your outside buttons. So like triangle, circle, X are one set, and then your D-pad is a different set. And then there are some situations where you can like they have different unison, like different ones. Like ones you have to like hit the two mirrored on each side. You have to hold and then let go, and then others you have to like tap twice in rapid succession. They also have this system called scratches where like these rings will appear, and the default for how you do a scratch is you're supposed to flick the left or right stick. I had to change this in settings to be like I can do it on the shoulder buttons because I was not physically capable of moving my thumb to a stick off the face buttons and keeping the rhythm of the music. I was just like, I don't know if my hands can switch from prime position to do the face buttons and then flick a stick and back to music. So I immediately was like, okay, I'm new to this game. As much as I love the music and you can, no matter what difficulty you're in, what the actual prompts you need to hit are, they're still to the music. It's just like some of them are less collected together. So if you can feel the rhythm, you can still play. But I immediately dropped down to easy, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna start soft, because you need to like get the feel for the game. And now after I did all that, and then I needed to just still do more to unlock more social link stuff and more accessories, because the 110% of this game is you can dress up. Like, you have different base costumes, like all your different favorite outfits. Plus, they have a special dancing outfit.
Like, I've been all about, like, fucking dress up. Like, I recently discovered that in Hyrule Warriors, you can get fairies. This actually was from the 3DS point, and you can dress them up. I'm all like, this is super important to my life right now.
Yeah, by the way, you're a little far away from your mic. You want to double-check your position?
I'm sorry. I started talking about Hyrule Warriors. I'm like, God damn it, I want to play it right now.
Yeah, I can hear it in the background. But yeah, no, everybody in Persona 5 can get costumes. So, like, you can do a default outfit, which can be, like, winter clothes, summer clothes, winter uniform. You can put everybody in their fucking PE tracksuit so they look like complete assholes. Then also you get accessories, so you can put on, like, cool glasses and headphones, or you could do, like, the gag glasses from Persona 4, stuff like that. A clown nose, a fake mustache if you like. But, like, so there's dress up and stuff, and to unlock all those, you need to do social stuff with people. Like,
that sounds fun. So it's more than just a rhythm game.
Yeah, the social aspect is more like an unlocking, like you beat challenges to do it, but there's still plenty of dialogue to be had, which is just, you play the rhythm game a few times, you get some scores, you unlock some new social links, and you go hang out with those guys and just talk for like 5 to 10 minutes and make some choices. I've replayed a couple. There's some fucking foreshadowing in some of those. Or references, like they tease you. I talked about this whole conversation in Discord. They tease you about dating Sai, and there's a couple of different reactions you can do. There's another point where you're talking with Futaba, and I think you're talking about Sojiro and stuff, but you end up talking about like if you had multiple girlfriends, and she's like, that would be a bad idea. You'd end up on the end of a massive all-out attack, and I'm like, yes, I would. That's why we don't do that. So there's like some meta commentary. I really hope they do some like back-end DLC for Kasumi, because she's supposed to be a dancer. That'd be a real shame if she got left out of the dancing game. On the other hand, though, I got the free Goro Akechi DLC, and I haven't yet seen the option to dance as him or include him as a dance, so I'm like, when does that open up? But I haven't beat all the songs on normal, so like I don't know. I had to scroll down to easy. But one of the things this game does is it has modifiers, so it's got both challenge modifiers and support modifiers. So if you put on challenge modifiers, your score gets higher, but the game gets harder. It's like, so normally I mentioned the scratches where you're supposed to like flick the sticker at the shoulder button. Normally those are just bonus points. But you can set a modifier to be like, and sometimes they'll make you miss, so you'll lose your combo and you'll lose like hype meter, basically. Like it's Rock Band or something. If you turn that on. Another one is that when you enter fever mode, which is like the high score mode where usually during like a powerful chorus or something, and they'll like amp up the graphics, your dancing partner will come and do some cool moves. Like, it looks cooler and stuff in the song, or it's just a bonus scoring period. You can make it so you don't have immunity during that section, so you can still fuck up and like lose your combos or whatever. And then supports are good stuff, like you can get extra bonuses for hitting notes. You can make it so that a good doesn't break your combo, because yes, if you do just good, you will lose your combo. You don't lose any points, but you'll lose your combo, which is bad because some social links need more combos. But like normally you want to score great or perfect, and then miss is you didn't hit the button at all, and good is usually like, well, theoretically you hit the button on this rhythm, but like you were way early. You're earlier off or offbeat. One of them is the hype gauge can fill automatically. To play normal, I turn that on just because I don't want to not clear a stage, because I'm like, listen, I love this music. I don't have to listen to this song like 5 times in a row to get like pitch perfect on it. And I understand that for some people, that's probably the appeal of a rhythm game. But I'm like, No, I got shit to do in my life. I want to listen to this song like maybe once or twice in a row and then move on to the next one and kind of see the moves and stuff. And you can, if after completing some stages, you can actually unlock stuff like you can see the dance replay without any overlay or stuff, which is good because a lot of these characters have really good moves and really good animations, but you can't fucking watch because you're watching shit float at the screen. Mm-hmm. Another one of the support modifiers, which is kind of funny, is that, which I've experimented with, but is not necessary, is it actually goofs me up sometimes because I played through all the tracks on easy, and then I'm at the end, I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta play normal now because like I didn't unlock everything then, so I'm like, okay, that's good. I felt like the game was a little short. But one of the combos you can do is you can make any button count. So it doesn't even have to be in the like normally you'll see a button approaching triangle, you can hit like X or whatever. I tried that, but I'm just like I try to hit it in triangle anyway because that's just how I learned to play this game. But it's fun. Like some of the support modifiers are funny, but they reduce your total max score, which doesn't really seem to do anything. I don't think. Like none of the social links seem to be tied to score unlocking or anything. Like mostly it's one of the characters who I don't remember who, it might be Haru, but it also might be Yusuke, is like you need a certain amount of brilliant ratings, which is just like you did really good, you didn't get a lot of misses, and you hit a lot of the notes kind of thing. Some of them are like, hey, guess what? To up on social link, you need to play in multiple costumes, of course. Some characters you need to like hit so many combos and stuff, so it's like it's really fun to hang out. Those
are really fun.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I might, I don't know if I want to stream it because it's got music on it. That might be a bad idea. YouTube might get mad at us. With good reason, because we're playing a rhythm game. Like, even I'll accept that, like, that's not a lot of fair use. That's basically, you either listen to me play a song correctly, basically, or horribly fuck up a song. Like, you're mostly there for the music and the visuals, I guess. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'll probably, while this is rendering, I'll probably go back and play more of it.
Yep.
Because there's lots to unlock, it's got some good stuff. I will admit, there's a couple instances where I'm a little salty. There was like they have like one of the songs is the ending credit song, which I'm like, okay, this is all heartfelt and stuff, but at the same time, it's like this isn't. It's interesting because I don't even remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's like it's a pretty what I would say typical ending song for like a Persona title where it's like, you know, super heartfelt. A lone Japanese woman belts out a soulful ballad, but I'm like. But at the same time, that's not the music I associate with Persona 5. You know, like, I associate that certain, you know, kind of like jazzy electric feel with Persona 5. Because it loves that aspect of the music. And I don't remember which remixes, but some of them are really good. Some of these, like, remixes, like, it was either Life Will Change or Last Surprise, and I'm like, hey, did you know you wanted this song with more waka chicka, waka chicka, waka chicka? Because you did. You didn't know it, but you do. You do want more of that in there. It's perfect. So, like, yeah, they're really good. It's a really good game, but at the same time, it's like, they play the ending song, and it's not even like a dance. It's literally just the ending credits for Persona 5 again, but with a rhythm game mechanic stapled over it, and I'm like, wow, this is really lazy. You didn't even let the characters, like they do what I assume is supposed to be the big finish song is you do Yuladabuth / Our Beginning, and it's like fucking everybody's on stage, like literally all your team members. Usually it's just one or two people, and they like join in for, like I said, the fever segments. No, when you do the big finale, well, first of all, you're doing it on top of the Mementos Tower, which is great, but literally everybody is there. Joker leads, but all the Phantom Thieves show up, and you can set all their different costumes and stuff, and be super cool. Like, that's like, yeah, that's a big fucking conclusion. You did work on that. But the one where you just played the ending credits video again, because apparently you didn't have that song isolated anywhere else, that was a little bit lazy, guys. But whatever. So yeah, Starlight's super fun. That was a good buy for me.
I might have to get that.
I'm thinking of whether or not I have to buy the Persona 3 dancing one yet, because I didn't get that one right off. But God, that was the first Persona game I played. That was super impactful to me. That would have been, shoot, when was that? It was a few years after it came out, but I bought FES, way back on the PS2 era. I think this was obviously pre PS3 even coming out. That was a big deal to me in my middle teens to play this game. And then 4 came out, and I put a lot of work into that one too. Like, honestly, I know that P5 took a long time to come out, but all those games have occurred at very well spaced points in my life to enjoy them. Because, 5 was super impactful for me a couple of years ago. Like that was a really good, moment for that to exist and come out and kind of be part of that. And the Royal will be super interesting when it comes out in 2020.
Oh man, let's see here. What else do we? Is that all you have to really say about?
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I'm not quote unquote done with it yet, so I don't have much more to say other than just hey, it's really good. And hey, if you like the music, you can listen to the music. Like I said, you can watch like a perfect replay if you want at times and see stuff. So it's like,
Lucky's pretty good at rhythm games. Like I was one of those guys that like I could do like a lot of songs on like Guitar Hero on an expert. I couldn't do Through the Fires on the Flame. I can only do that on hard because Jesus fucking Christ, that was a hard one.
Yeah, my ability to do stuff on Guitar Hero stopped at medium usually. Like I had a rough time getting through hard songs.
Yeah,
that fifth fucking button kills you. I'm like, but my pinky doesn't want to do that.
But so yeah, like I've been like I like rhythm games. I really do. It's just usually I don't like because like I like to go. The one that kills me actually is fucking DDR. I fucking love DDR. I die every time I fucking play it.
I had a hard time getting into DDR, but that's because my friends, and my friends at this point were teenage girls, and I was like an 11-year-old dude. We're like, let's play the DDR machine in like the bowling alley or the arcade, and I'm like, I'm not okay with this. I don't have a good sense of dance, and I'm an awkward child in a social situation, so like I'm a little turned off DDR. But like if somebody bought like a DDR pad at home, I'd give it a try, but I just don't. I don't know. I'm a Commander Shepard dancer anyway, so.
So, everyone, we're noting this down. When me and Omega consolidate, we're not gonna get like a DDR machine, but we're gonna definitely.
We can get a dance pad. That's. See, here's the thing. I'll do it for fucking content on the internet.
We're not gonna do one of the plastic pads. We're gonna build a hard pad.
What?
Which is the one like we have to like build it ourselves, or we have to have someone custom make it. Because they're a lot more sturdy, because those plastic plaids, you can, like, literally stomp through those. But, yeah, so we're going to do that. Prepare for DDR content, and watch us get fit and trim from dying every day on it. Well, I'll die every day on it.
I'll probably die, too. Though also, we probably have to do something reinforced, because I've been told I have a heavy footfall.
Yeah, I'm 250 fucking pounds, yo.
I weighed myself lately. I'm not that big, but that's also because I'm shorter than you. So
yeah,
my frame is not necessarily. I'm like 5'8", so like that would be too much on my frame. Mm-hmm. I'm not like immobilized, so. But in general, I've been told I have a very heavy footfall.
But so yeah, don't worry, everyone. We're making plans for our eventual quote unquote office. We're gonna have.
Well, and also, like I said, we know exactly what kind of video content, like live or otherwise, we want to bring you. Like we know exactly what we want to do. We just aren't in the position to do it yet.
Yeah, that's the struggle.
Like like I said, like talk about live action stuff. I'd love to set up like a little GoPro or something, play tabletop games. We could do that. I'd love to do that. I want to do that with Tabletop Simulator sometime now, but it's hard to get enough people to make it interesting together, and schedules and stuff. Like sometimes we barely remember to run our tabletop RPG games without a tabletop once a week. Which, by the way, I'm not sure. I feel like you felt that last session, which isn't out yet. I have to turn it into a video. That'll probably be next week because they're rendering. But like, I feel like you took that as much more of a life or death experience than I felt like it was for you. Well, even though I intended it to be a near death experience, but you seem like you're a little more jangled about that possibility than I am. So like, you're getting a little heavy duty into the how do I not die next time.
Well, here's the thing. You're the game master. Your job is to focus on any and all characters, whether or not, they're our characters or NPCs. So you necessarily might not get as attached to them as I am in my one character.
Sure.
Like, as I said, all I have is Wolfgang. Wolfgang goes down.
I'll admit, I am thinking about this from more of like a overall dramatic standpoint. Yeah. Like, what makes it interesting? Well, it should be interesting if there's actually a fucking fight that you don't win right away. That's mostly what I was working on. Was how do I make a conflict that you guys don't end turn one? Well, it worked.
And yeah, it worked. As I said, if the video ain't public, then people don't understand. But
it'll be up. Look forward to it if you follow that sort of stuff. But we actually have some mid-recording game design conversations where we're like, this isn't... Where I'm like, this isn't working like I intended. I don't feel like I'm presenting the right sense of feeling. I think that's the first time we've had a Mages of War game that was where we had maybe not like a full blown negative, but like no, there were definitely some missteps here.
Yeah.
So I had to admit I wrote some advice for both myself and future people reading the game and like, no, okay, let's make sure this is set up better in future and work that out. And we even talked about it where like you guys made a couple of decisions where it was like, well, we're kind of like focused. We're kind of like locked in here, so let's clearly keep going at this as opposed to like some other options, which maybe would have been more interesting.
But at the same, like, because I was more and more thinking about that, like, yeah, we could, shit, I don't know if I actually want to like talk about like the actual situations before the video goes.
Well, we don't want to spoil, but like there were notes where like I could have done something where like you were in a fight, and if you guys weren't interested in continuing that fight, I should have just said, well, then it's not a fight, it's a chase. But you guys didn't try to turn it into that either. It's like, okay, well, we're locked into a long range conflict, so I guess the only thing we can really do in a practical time scale is get right up in there. And that involved lots of moving over and over again, round after round.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, though, that a lot of rounds passed by, and you weren't as horribly crippled as I was worried you might end up. So I was like, oh, you did fine. But you're like, no, you shot me, dude. I'm not fine. I'm not fine if I'm getting shot. I'm like, well,
it's the thing.
Okay.
It's the thing, because, like, those rounds, like, was able to get through my, all my defenses and then some, and she was firing this once a fucking round. Like, I
fired 5 bullets and I actually hit you with one, and I rolled really well on that one. So,
yeah.
I mean, statistically, like when people listen to this, if they actually like count the numbers and how well that results, that like on a statistical scale, you probably would have been okay.
Well, because like one of the shots, I only survived because I poured like half my fucking Ethereum core into not getting hit.
Yeah, true. You spent a lot of resources, but you were able to spend those resources. That's okay. That's why I'm glad you suggested the push thing, because now I wrote a new rule where you can spend more Ethereum charges. Because I'll be honest, that's the one thing I think as a game master that bothers me, is that I feel like, and obviously some of it's just the nature of things, like, well, if I figure out that you're, like, if you're doing like a defensive mission, well, you're not going to be fucking far from your base, or at least from your friendly troops, so hey, guess what? You don't spend, like, 4 hours loitering in the air. You have to burn up a lot of charges beforehand. But also, you guys are, like, super fast anyway, so it's hard sometimes, and you especially now have an efficient unit, so you don't spend as many charges. But I'm like, fuck, I want to make you feel like you guys can't just blow 4 charges to get plus 80 on every roll. So now there's a new rule which involves spending charges, so hopefully you guys feel a little more cautious about whether or not you're going to burn out all that stuff and start falling. Because I feel like early on, like in the very first couple of playtest games, and even in the original playtest, the Scythian Front one, where you guys are in, Russia in the middle of winter.
Ooh, that's always bad.
But you were on the ground at least. But at the same time, there was still like this concern where it was like, man, I really don't want to run out of Ethereum charges because like we're chasing a train or we're in the middle of woods, and I really don't want to run out of power here and like have to walk back. That would suck. But after a couple of missions where you did not tap too deeply into your cores, or you guys got a couple of spare cores that you were rotating around through freely, like there have definitely been a lot of moments where it was just like, fuck it, I don't need to worry about it. We're close to home. I'll burn a shitload of charges to do good at magic. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I feel like we've lost a little bit of that initial feel. That first feeling was the feeling I wanted, where you guys have to think about, God, it would really suck if I fell out of the sky in the middle of enemy territory. But that's a game design thing. But hopefully, I think with, like, obviously we've joked about the internal beta before. That's what it is. Like, this is all just one group of guys playtesting. So we address stuff as it comes up. I feel like the game's pretty feature complete, but sometimes you run into issues where it's like, oh yeah, we never really had a situation where like you're flying and you're basically in a shooting gallery. How do we make that fun? Like, how do we do stuff where you can make meaningful decisions? Because I think to me, and I think to you too, we've talked about this, like an important aspect of actually running a tabletop game, whether or not you're making it yourself or you're running another game, that somebody else wrote, is you need to be able to make meaningful choices, because otherwise the game master should be writing a fucking novel. He should just get off his ass and do that.
Yeah.
So like you'll hear people, rail about railroads and stuff, like Like, I'm still super into L5R. At some point, I'm gonna run it with these guys, or I'm gonna find completely new guys to run it with. I don't know. I'll do something. I want to run that game so bad. But at the same time, we're also like barely getting together one session a week, and I still like playing mages, or like running Mages of War, and like learning stuff about this game I wrote. So I'm not in a hurry to like make you guys stop doing that to play L5R. It's just I have multiple wants and desires. It's funny. But like a lot of people rail about how in the early days of that game, because that game came out in the 90s, the first edition, the first run of the card game and the first run of the RPG was like 95. I was like 3. So I wasn't playing back then. I couldn't read back then. But a lot of people talk about how a lot of those even those RPG supplements were written like, and I've heard this about other 90s games like the classic Deadlands, where like those games had a meta plot, as people like to call it, where there's obviously whatever plots your campaign is running, but there's an ongoing storyline, like for the card game or whatever, because we need to sell more cards. So we introduce new characters, we introduce new storylines, we can make more cards, we can sell them to people, we can make people make story decisions as like tournament prizes. That was a really big L5R thing. But I also feel like for RPG designers, this means that a lot of people got the idea that, well, the player character, not even the character, the player of the game naturally exists to fuck up whatever plot you make. So we have to write it so it's literally impossible for players out in the world to fuck up the meta plot, which means that you can never beat major storyline villains. They are fucking invincible and they will defeat you all the time. All you can do is like catch them and sell them out to more important storyline characters who are good guys that we like. Or you literally can't do anything about this supernatural force. It's, supernatural and magical, and you don't have the magic artifacts you need to face it. Stuff like that. And like I'm just like, wow, that is so 90s and so bullshit. I would never be okay with the like even as a GM, I would not like for the game to tell me, hey, by the way, your players can't beat this guy, and so just fuck you. And I'm like, God, that's so dumb. Why?
Like rule 0 of all like RPGs is like I can't remember what it is exactly, but basically you set what rules are in the game. So
it basically rule 0 boils down to like it's a game. The GM is your referee. Whatever you decide at the table is what goes. And hey, the new edition of L5R is great about this. It has sections which are like, your table, your Rokugan. It's like, okay, here's our suggestions, and here's how we wrote the setting, and here's what our ongoing stuff is. But if y'all don't like that, or you want to do stuff different, do what the fuck ever, just so long as you make a consistent rule and stick to it. And I'm like, that's great advice. That is modern gaming advice that matters, because that's how you should run stuff. Like, when I'm running Mages of War, I'm taking input from these guys as I decide stuff. I'm asking them questions like, do you guys feel like you have a penalty right now? And for the most part, you guys aren't shy that like, yeah, no, it's like raining, the sun's in my eyes. I should probably take some penalties on this roll, shouldn't I? Like, we have enough of that trust and that back and forth to be like, yeah, no, there's definitely something here. And let's work on that. And like, I'm not afraid to be like, I'm especially not afraid to fuck shit up. Like, Marth has an SMG, which I'm pretty sure doesn't, if we were playing a literal historically accurate World War I game, that doesn't exist right now. It's barely 1915. And yes, we're 1915 now. We time skipped into January. Because the last session that's public ended in like late December. So yeah. By the time we picked it back up, we moved into the new year. No, there was not 3 sessions of preparing for the New Year's party. I stopped that because otherwise that would have happened. But like I'm explicitly in my GM notes that now preface what's called the Marshal's Handbook is like, don't be afraid to massage dates and technologies to make a more interesting story. Like, so Mar's character Ulrich wants to have an SMG because that's kind of how his character build turns out, and he's put a lot of money and effort into that thing. Mm-hmm. That's fine. That's whatever. That's the whole point. The whole point is that you have these different guns to like try these different systems, and it's interestingly enough, it's a really close-up weapon. So there's that. But like, I'm not gonna like harsh his buzz and be like, okay, so actually, even though I wrote the stats down for this, the submachine gun wasn't invented until like 1916. You should be using a pistol with you should be using basically a trench carbine conversion. You should have like customized a pistol for this. And hey, there's a trench carbine in the stats. Like there's a thing where you can basically buy the proto SMG, the pistol conversion. It's not auto fire, but it's like a lot more bullets than you normally have in a gun. Mm-hmm. Which is an actual problem in the First World War setting, was that like there were guys who were doing these operations, and it was basically like you had this problem where, like, fuck, we don't have enough bullets. There's shitloads of dudes in these trenches where, fighting these huge mass battles. Well, if you're, like, firing from a stripper clip or even an internal magazine, you've got, like, 5 shots and then you're done. Unless you're a sharpshooter, you don't normally hit humans in 5 bullets. Like, that's the whole reason why we have developed our systems of, like, suppressing fire and stuff. So, the fact that you can carry more bullets in a gun is a huge thing. Like, we've tied this back and forth because you're considering picking up an automatic rifle, which is a very thinly veiled XP for the bar. But it's like, so, in real life, having a 20-round box mag on a heavy-ass, fully automatic gun is a little bit low. But, in terms of the game, I've still set it up so your auto-fire rate's not, like, super high. You can still get a decent number of turns of shooting out of it, though it is very heavy.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things I was saying, is like, how many times I can shoot this? And it's like, because I think it has auto-fire 4.
Yeah.
And it has 20, so it's like, the way auto-fire works is basically you use as many bullets as your auto-fire rating, so it's like, yeah, basically I can take 5 bursts.
Yeah.
Before I have to reload.
You get,
I was thinking about, like,
5 rounds of bursts, or I think in combat time that's the equivalent of, like, 30 seconds of sustained fire if you literally did nothing but stand there and auto-fire, like, 5 turns in a row.
And you know what?
That sounds fair to me. That's not great, but that's pretty fair for an actual combat action. Like, it's not like a belt-fed, 100-round mag where you can bang away for a couple of minutes before you run out. But yeah, no. So we're doing we are constantly doing game design. Like, if you people could witness the Secret Tabletop Cabal, there are just times where we just get into conversations about stuff. We're like, hey, is there a rule for this, or can we do this, or what's the actual best way to do this? And so, like you asked me, like, hey, can the rules about tower shields say, the description, I should say, about tower shields says it's usually done by ground guys, but I can't still carry one while flying. I'm like, yeah, no, you totally can if you have the weight for it. It's just you're carrying a giant, piece of metal while you're trying to fly, and like, maybe it should be like a penalty then. I'm like, okay, I can make that explicit, and I did.
Yeah, because like I'm okay with like taking penalties because. Like, specifically, like, with the giant tower shield, it's like, because my character right now carries a medium shield.
Right, basically your classic medieval, like, heater or kite shield. It's not a small, it's not like a small little buckler so that you, like, it's like, it actually protects your whole fucking forearm. And, like, you can interpose it between your body and something.
Yeah. And the tower shield, it's the goddamn tower shield. This thing's like 6 feet tall.
It's basically like a mass-produced, well, probably not mass-produced, but like a modern reproduction of like a Roman legionnaire shield, which is like, it's as tall as a dude, it's curved, it's wide enough it completely covers your profile.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, that's something big, it's awkward, and like, as usual it'll be in the air, it totally makes sense that, no, it's gonna be a little awkward in the fucking air. So, yeah, that's like, a -10 penalty, perfect. I'll suck that up so I can, like, not get shot.
Yeah, because the difference is like, it's full cover because you're literally behind a shield that can't see your body. It's got a little bit extra DR. Don't worry, we'll just move into spells that just don't give a fuck about armor or toughness.
Yeah. See, and this is the thing of games right now. We're now in the cycle of escalation.
Yeah, we're in the Cold War of game design, which is like, well, I need to challenge these guys, which means I need to figure out what actually matters, which means I have to do something which hurts them. But then the moment I hurt them, we're like, well, shit, fire is hot. How do we not get burned again? I'm gonna invent the oven mitt, and I'm like, goddamn oven mitts.
Goddamn oven.
I mean, that's kind of how I felt about your armor lately. Was like, you're wearing your fucking bubble wrap, and I'm like, god damn it, I can't. You're pretty good about playing your character. Like, you get freaked out if you're in a combat situation anyway. But at the same time, there's a certain amount of not realness I feel to it, where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm genuinely challenging you right now because you're, getting filled full of bullets. You took I think one or 2 points of damage when a giant chimera attacked your leg, and that was a full-blown surprise attack where it was doing a special charge for bonus damage. So you were mostly fine. You were fucking fine when you got friendly fired. Ulrich accidentally struck you with a bullet, and the worst you did was I think you bruised your shin because he had his special damage, do critical damage bullets on. But yeah, so I'm like, I need to make sure I challenge you. What can I do? Also, I was thinking, like I said, what's a good personal nemesis character who will actually be a challenge for you directly. This person is here to beat you up. How do I beat you up? I'm going to get a huge fuck-off rifle with giant bullets, and I'm going to shoot you from very far off. And that really worked, kind of. I only hit you once, but it certainly seemed to put the fear of God in you.
Yeah, it did. And you were telling me, like, we didn't even see, like, fully what she was capable of.
No, and like I said, like, that wasn't as dramatic as I wanted it, and even that became an in-character thing, where the character was like, I'm bored now, I'm going home, you're boring me.
I cry.
Because it was like, because I anticipated that somehow you would manage to shenanigans your way into close combat anyway.
I tried.
And, I mean, there's a whole discussion about where it kind of took a wrong turn in the episode, so we won't rehash it. I'll just, like I said, I'll post that in probably a couple days from now to fill out the roster for next week.
Yeah, like, we are in our secret tabletop cabal. Me and Marth have been, Marth who plays Ulrich, have been going back and forth. I was like, alright, what can we do? What are our plans?
What do we do about this? How do we deal with that? And I'm just sitting here, yeah, you guys keep thinking about stuff. I've already got the next mission planned, and I'm gonna... And the dice didn't fuck you as hard as they could have. But the general rule is, like, listen, you guys are going to have problems no matter what happens, so, like, I'll figure out a way to make it dramatic.
Like, here's the thing, like, if you don't want Wolfgang in his armor, just give him missions where he can't be in his fucking armor. Because it's like with the,
Yeah, the boat mission was great. That was, I think, a high point.
Yeah, the boat mission, like, I totally could have just said, I'm gonna wear my fucking armor. Because I take no athletic penalties in it. That's, like, one of the effects of Ironclad. So mechanically, yeah, I could have done it, been perfectly fine, and be like, yeah, whatever.
Well, you would have been completely fine from your normal athletics penalty. I still would hit you with some penalties for swimming in your fucking armor. But you bought swim, like, you did your damnedest to negate the fact that almost nobody is really. You all know how to swim. I think that's even covered in the fluff chapters. Is like, no, hey, when you go through basic as a mage, they teach you how to swim if you don't already, because that's a huge waste of resources if you fall in the river and drown. You fucking asshole. A grunt can drown. Mages do not.
But it's still the point of I, as a character and as a player, decided to forego my armor anyway, even though, like, at the time I thought I could be like, oh yeah, I'd be perfectly fine, because it doesn't make fucking sense to go into a fucking river with a piece of armor, no matter how good you are in it.
Well, and also, like, your armor would be masterwork, but, like, you don't have the special rune that makes it, like, waterproof or whatever, so, like...
It's like that's a fucking hassle, so I'm like, no, I go without my armor. Like, stealth missions, like, also, it's all like, why would I wear giant fucking armor? That makes no sense. That's something that makes me stand out. No. You know, like, stuff like that. So it's like, there are definitely ways to get around my armor. It's just that if I'm going into a mass combat situation, I'm gonna be wearing fuck tons of armor.
Well, and yeah, that's an evolution too, because you made probably some dumb decisions early on, which is you started as an officer, so you just had a vest, basically.
And like, I'm all like, yes, I will lead from the front.
And you had this...
And it's like, look, that guy is shiny!
So you got the shiny armor, which gave you a bonus to your charisma or your leadership? Or was it all social?
I think it was leadership.
Yeah, I think it was all your leadership roles got a bonus, because you were shiny and gilded. But at the same time, every time I had a decision where enemies had multiple characters to shoot, like, one of you wasn't necessarily drawing more aggro through your actions, I was like, and they shoot at the shiny guy, because they would.
Yeah. Like,
that's the penalty of the armor. The armor is it draws attention, and like, well, you're fucking gilded, so you've got you, and then you've got the other guy, so guess what? You're getting shot. So that kind of turned into no, I want a different armor permutation, and also, I want, to be heavier armored, because I'm getting shot a lot. And in, like, the first or second, I think it was the first session, you passed out from shock in the first combat. Yeah. You took a really nasty bullet to the head and passed out.
Yeah, I was done. Like,
and your conversation, you took half your wounds, you scoffed the toughness roll, and you fell over in the mud, in the rain. And that very much shaped both you, Lucky the player, and I think Wolfgang's experiences going forward. Which has basically been like, golly gee willikers, I don't want to pass out in the rain anymore.
Yeah, it's to the point of the fact that my Wolfgang is probably going to attempt a very stupid and very difficult way.
Yeah, we'll talk about, I think we'll probably talk about it in the session when you go through that, because we'll run through how much of that's a bad idea, and literally no one will help you because it's a terrible idea, and they don't want to be responsible for fucking your shit up.
Mm-hmm. But if it pulls out, well, Wolfgang will be semi-immortal.
Yeah, and also, like, I think the other thing we learned was just, like, you guys have come to what I think was not necessarily a conscious design decision, but works, where, like, you guys have talked about it a lot and, like, rationed it out and been like, man, it's kind of hard to pick multiple, like, elemental trees, because a lot of these neutral trees are really good, but it can be pricey to invest in, like, multiple elements. And, like, that's really cool and stuff, and there's probably a lot of competitive builds you could do that way, but, like, I think to myself, like, no, that sounds about right. You have an elemental affinity. One element tree is more open to you. You get to pick that as a character, so you should probably decide when you're making your build, like, what affinity interests you the most, and figure out your problems with that. Like, poor Ulrich, he's decided he's going to be like German Gara and just carry sand with him everywhere, because he has this unfortunate problem where half of his spells require the targets to be on the ground, which doesn't work because they're flying mages. He also, by the way, is the character who has a fear of heights, I guess, or fear of falling.
I think we don't like constantly hit him with it, but anytime we try to do something strenuously.
Yeah, I kind of ruled it as like, no, you're a flying mage. Like, you're not afraid of falling, like, most of the time. But there's some situations where it's like, where he was like, oh, I want to go straight up. Wait a minute, I have a phobia. I wouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds like that would be a fear test if you want to deliberately make the chance that you're going to plummet to your death worse. Or like both of the times you've para-dropped, he's had to roll a fear test, and sometimes you've had to talk him into it, because it's like, there's a difference between just flying off the ground low and then, like, jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, it's like me, personally, like, I don't really have a fear of heights, but I hate fucking ladders. I hate going up and down them. Like, if I have to stand on top, like, actually yesterday, I was actually in our Discord talking about this. I was on top of a ladder. I was waiting for some girls to get here, and I was like, I am secure. I don't want to have to go up or down, because if I start going up or down, this thing will start moving, it'll shake, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
So,
and hey,
it's like,
honestly, gravity's such a pain in the ass. Like, in games, I've run into this constantly. You know why there's well, basically, here's a funny story. You know why there's climbing gear in Mages of War? Because there was climbing gear in the XCOM parody, in the XCOM homebrew, because there was climbing gear in the Halo homebrew. You know why there was climbing gear in the Halo homebrew?
Oh, why?
Because in playtesting, we tried to climb stuff, and we really sucked at it, and it hurt a lot. And it was like, we talked to the guy who was making it, was like, hey, can we get some fucking climbing gear in this so we can get huge bonuses to this? And, like, obviously it weighs stuff, so we have to, like, count against that balance. But, like, we're multi-ton Spartans, and, we can't climb a 6-foot ledge without, like, falling over and bruising our shins. And it's like, can we make this suck less? So, like, no, climbing in anything, in real life or not, is a pain. So it's like, yeah, no, you need ways to take care of that.
Yeah, freeform climbing, without, like, pitons and rocks, all that kind of thing. I mean, stuff, that's bad. That's hard. Don't do that.
Now, there are special abilities, and there are spells and stuff that are like, you can fucking free climb all you like. You love it. You love to free climb.
Actually, I have them. Spider climb gives you a bonus to athletics, and just having the spell magnetism gives you a passive bonus to climb metal.
Yeah, because you can just stick to it magically.
Yep.
And there's, like, I think it might be one of the totems, is like the Earth totem is like, oh yeah, and you can just climb rock surfaces without gear with no penalty because you're fucking magic. The rock loves you. But also, that climbing gear is there, and it gives you a pretty hefty bonus to athletics checks to climb, and it's like, and also, if you're properly secured, you're probably not gonna risk a catastrophic fall and die.
Yeah, please don't. Actually, I was looking at the totems, and I was like, oh yeah, you can make custom totems. Because I'm right now of the mind, if I'm getting a giant fuck-off shield, well, plan to, I also want to get a giant fuck-off sword, and I'm like, I was actually, like, talking to Omega. It's like, hey, is there a way that you can, like, two-hand...
Oh, actually, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but I was thinking about it, and I read over some notes. I added that to the Earth Rune, because I realized what the description of Earth Rune is like, it's like, it makes the weapon easier to wield, makes you stronger, but it's just like, but it just halves the weight and gives you a bonus to hit, and I'm like, it seems a little weak. I'll make it so... No, if you do it, you can now one-hand a two-handed weapon. You lose the bonus knockback and damage, but you can still do that, so... if you want to make a Masterwork Earth Rune Claymore and get your giant Zweihander, you can do that.
I gotta check to see what, like... Because here's the thing, you can't put every enchantment on a
No, that's a rule. It's hard. It's meant to prevent this kind of min-maxing where you, like,
so
you have to pick and choose your bonuses.
Yeah, so
I believe if you make a weapon runic, you cannot enchant it with, like, first of all, you can't indefinitely enchant it. But also, I don't know if you can cast spells like Temper on it or whatever.
Yeah, so I gotta look into that. Because otherwise, who knows? Maybe I'll see if I can make Wing a fucking totem. or something.
That, or you could probably design maybe a custom enchanted item, because you can customize some of the, you can get, like, unique enchantments. You can do something unique to make it, like, lighter.
Because this is something that we haven't been really exploring a lot in...
Yeah, Martha's actually thinking about making custom spells, because he's about to be, he is done, I think, with, Earth, because he bought Titan's Throw. He's done. Or close to be done. He has, like, a couple utilities left.
I think he has, he only has a couple. But it was just the moment of, I'm like, it's like, yeah, like custom like items, like custom like with alchemy rituals. Like there's a lot of like
there's a fair amount of open-ended stuff I wrote into the game because it's fucking magic. It can do whatever. Yeah, you just have to figure it out.
We haven't really been touching on it.
Well, and you realized why you didn't touch on alchemy because I wrote. I was not a complete idiot about balancing, and I wrote in there like because I predicted that somebody would go, I'm just gonna make potions all day, so they're fucking expensive is the answer.
Yeah.
Which I think works exactly because your greed looked at that number and was like, are these life-saving potions and enchantments worth my money? Because you have a long list of purchases to make.
Yeah. Because, it was just like, I think it was like, for like a standard healing potion, it'd been like 50 MC or something. It wasn't small potatoes.
No. But it makes sense for the setting, because it's like, no, you need special stuff, you need to do magic to it, you probably need to get a specialist prepared to cast the healing to put it in the thing. Like, this isn't meant to be like quite like a D&D dungeon punk like setting where like everybody's got healing potions. Nobody ever, but people always die of disease or something somehow. No, it's like magical healing's a specialty thing and it's expensive. And it's got limits. Like so you also said you also realized that you have to go like 3 or 4 talents deep before you can hit a healing spell that can heal you.
Yeah.
Because it's explicitly designed to solve the problem where, like, physician heal thyself. It's also harder to do first aid checks on yourself.
Like I said, this thing I'm about to do, it's real dangerous, real stupid, but I think the payoff is going to be, I think it's worth the risk, if it works. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or leaves you, what leaves you horribly, horribly mangled. Good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to get into keep playing Mages of War as it plans. I got to make purchases. Got to do enchantments.
And there's and also I think it's going to be really interesting with the mission plan because I shared it with you because I was like, holy shit, I think the dice don't hate you anymore. Because I'm the caveat. I've said this multiple times. The caveat of this campaign was, okay, we're going to do it. It's going to be buddy cop. It's just going to be you two. No matter how much our friends beg to get in on this, they can't. They're not allowed. They weren't there when we wanted to play a game, so they're fucking out. It's very petty of us, but that's sometimes you got to do that to get something rolling. Yep. And I said, I'm not going to do any heavy lifting for this. I made a whole shitload of random tables. I'm going to roll random tables and see where that takes me. And it's worked out so far. Most of the time, the dice fucking hate you. The dice assign you missions like the airfield mission or the boat thing. And sometimes if I get a result that's like the same one as the last time we rolled a mission, I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'll reroll it again. But that's what the rules say to do. Choose what matters. Choose what's appropriate. If you get 2 conflicting results, discard one. But most of the time, they just hate you. They're like, minefields, anti-air, blacked out, high alert, double enemies, shitloads of enemies. Enemies that hate you specifically. Why? The enemy is actually your mother, and she's very disappointed in your life choices. You know, those kind of random results. This time it was pretty mellow. It was just like what did I say the mission goals were?
It was like stealth, siesta.
Well, actually, it's way up there because you guys, like I said, we talked about constantly game designing. Like, Mark's character, Ulrich, decided to get Gunslinger, so now he has 2 revolvers, so there's a lot of talking back and forth about how to get better guns. He's going to do something dumb and give them, like, Magnum heavy barrel and frontier pattern, so he's only got, like, 3 shots, but they're huge. They're huge bullets.
At first he was all like, I'll just put a drum magazine. We're like, Mark, that's not how revolvers
No, that's not how that works. The magazine upgrades requires a magazine feed. Revolvers don't have magazines. They're cylinder fed.
But again, really excited. I'm going to try and get me a giant sword, a giant shield. I'm going to get an armored cloak. I'm going to put that shit on.
Yeah, okay, the mission type is escort. Your operation effects, your random operation conditions are siesta, getaway vehicle, and blacked out. And your secondary objective is stealth, so you're supposed to do this in stealth. And your tertiary objective is conserve. Don't use up all your goddamn bullets.
No. Sounds like we're going to fucking... I don't want to say... Well, actually, it could be. It sounds like we're about to snake this shit.
Yeah, well, we'll cover it. you'll know that I haven't shown you what the battlefield conditions are yet, or anything.
Yeah, no.
And, like, obviously there's some stuff that I'm going to keep close to my chest until we're actually in the briefing. But, like, there'll be some fun stuff no matter what. Like I said, like, no matter what the dice do, it's going to be funny. But I think I was just like, this one doesn't just hate you on principle.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, the last mission didn't necessarily hate you. That seemed pretty simple. But
Oh, yeah.
then I got inspired to actually make it interesting.
It made it interesting, and that made it boring.
Well, yes and no. Like, it got boring because it wasn't, my plan was not executed as well as I should have. I should have put more thought into it. Like, I should have been way more specific about my game design and just done it, rather than, like, I was a little wishy-washy about, because usually we try not to get hung up on ranges and things. I even said this in that episode that's not out yet. We're not doing fucking trigonometry here. Like, you move in 3 dimensions, you move in 3 dimensions. You don't have to be like, I move 4 meters over and 3 meters up, and that's my 8 meters. I'm like, no, dude, you move to 8 meters. You can... The way it's written for flight is you move freely in 3 dimensions. You can move 8 meters in a diagonal. It's not like a whole huge deal. Just let me know, like, if you're ascending, descending, etc.
Yeah.
It's not
well,
like
that's
a
the thing. It's like with
map.
fucking since we do all this online, we don't have like the tools to like always properly display like all
yeah,
the
like
location.
we could try to like roll 20, or we could try to get like, God forbid, I could try and get map tools to work again. That always freaks me out with the fucking VPNs and the fake lands and stuff. It was a pain in the butt. But there are gaming tools to display, but usually those require like memberships, and you have to learn how to use the tool sets. Just theater of the mind's a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
And if it comes to it, I can do like rough sketches and stuff. Like that was actually what I thought was really cool about the boat mission was I handed you a fucking satellite map off Google Earth, which I had sepia toned to make it look like a period photograph and covered in doodles.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here's your tactical operations map. Here's what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ever need to do another secured one, like I thought about that for the airfield, but I was like, no, I can just describe it. It's a couple of runways and some hangars and some outbuildings. It's not that hard to wrap your head around. Same with like the last mission was done over a port. I was like, no, okay, so here's the I don't need to show you a picture. I can just describe you. Okay, here's the general outline of the port. It's kind of like a J shape or an L shaped inlet. There's a little bit sticking out. There's mainland stuff like that. But if I had to, I would do images.
Yeah. So what was I thinking? I was thinking of something. Oh, Axes and
Game design
our comments
maps.
talking about maps. Axes and our comments. I said you're gonna give yourself region. I'm gonna try. It can go pretty bad if there's no officially test spells. But there is a spell for region. It's the third. It's the third spell in the healing tree. It's also the first spell that a caster can use to heal themselves.
Yeah, because it's healing over time.
Yeah.
The first two are what, like healing hand and healing word, I think.
No, it's the fourth spell because it's healing hand, cure, healing word, and then regen. It's just that you only need the healing hand and cure to get regen.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Healing word is like another offshoot of that.
Well, that's what he's saying. But here's the problem. Here's the thing, Axe. Lucky's a lunatic and he wants to enchant himself with it.
Yeah,
which is inherently complex. That's actually in the rules.
Mm-hmm.
To be like repair itself.
And it'll be semi-immortality because my body will basically just always be going back to that state of...
No, Axe, he needs to enchant his armor so it's always hardened or tempered. Which one do you do? Hardening. Because temper is elemental, because you don't want to get beat up by sticks.
Nope.
I don't know, we just talked about how we don't play MK11.
Yeah.
But basically, he's gonna do the special thing, because there's a lot of modifiers you can do on enchanting, so he's gonna make the target of his enchanting himself, and he's going to do all the modifiers for permanence, and it's going to be like complexity, like he needs to make like 20 rolls or something dumb like that.
Yeah,
and it's going to be really complex, and he's probably going to blow himself
up. Human experimentation, while not illegal, is definitely not something that is frowned upon. It's definitely something that is frowned upon.
And also, no, Axe, you explicitly cannot multi-enchant. That's the whole rule. The you have to make, like I talked about this before, you have to make meaningful choices. You have a limited number of enchantment slots, and you can't have overlapping enchantments because that gets way too broken. How many enhancement spells do you think you have right now?
Me?
Yeah.
I actually looked at this. I think I have like... actually, let me pull up my character.
Because you definitely have both Temper and Harden. I think you also have Burning Brand.
Yep.
So you could like make a sword or something that probably won't break ever and does like twice the extra damage and also has extra damaging tags like Sunder, Cauterize, etc.
Yeah.
Flame, I think. I think it's Flame and Cauterize, actually, for, but it might be Sunder, I don't know.
No, it's Sunder. It doesn't get the flame tag, because I remember I don't use Burning Brand because I have Saber, which already gives me Sunder.
Mm-hmm. But Cauterize is brutal. Cauterize actually came from the Halo homebrew, where Covenant plasma weapons did that. That was the plasma quality. Instead of taking blood loss, you just take more wounds, and it sucked.
Oh god. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 5.
Luckily,
11,
in the
18,
Magipunk
20.
future in the Magipunk future past of Mages of War, there's very few things which are hot enough to Cauterize.
Yeah, so I have fucking 24 spells for Wolfgang here. Some of them are handsome, some of them are not. Oh shit, actually no, I have 25. I have still forgotten to put down that I bought Decoy in order to not die.
Better do that now.
I need to remember that. That was something that, actually kind of made me sad, because I was trying to avoid buying, like, shifty, sneaky spells, and it's all like, it's 50, and, it might save your fucking life right now, and I was like, god damn it, it might.
Well, yeah, Decoy is supposed to be a very basic spell.
Yeah, it's only like 50 experience, and I had 50 experience left over, so I was like, heck, and so I bought it. And, like, here's the thing, like, again, my ex, you're talking about, like, armbands, and, like, human experience. The thing about this is, armband is something that can be taken from me. Like, that can be removed. If I enchant my body, I'm always going to be with my body, and I have regeneration. Like, I don't think it regrows, like, lost limbs. That's, like, a higher level one. I'm not too concerned about that.
I mean, it's magic. You might not always be with your body.
Well, yeah, I know, but with my body, like, as long as I don't get my soul punched out, as long as I'm with it, I will heal, even if I'm, like, stripped naked and I have to, like, escape a facility barehanded.
Which, to be fair, you would have to be. Like, you're a fucking terror.
Yeah.
You're already a full-blown metal bender, and you're a melee focused, so hey, guess what? You're good at punching people. Do you have Iron Fist yet?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Wait,
so your hands have, what is that, penetration equal to your will mod, so you have, like, pen 4 or 5, you can literally punch through body armor.
Wait, actually, let me double check on this. I might not. I might have switched out.
I don't know. It's on your fucking list.
It's on my list to get. It's like the next one I'm gonna buy. But yeah, like once I get that and Heart of Fire, it's all like, I can literally like knife hand fucking people and cut them open.
Yeah, Heart of Fire is temporary at least, but you get a decent chunk of that, and then that's like, yeah, by the way, you're fucking on fire. You punch people. Also, it's harder to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not harder, but it has penalties.
So I'm basically trying to think of like, alright, if I am at my weakest, how strong am I? Instead of trying to inflate my my ceiling, I'm trying to level my floor. Which is one of those things, because like
we've mentioned this before explicitly in the game, and also I think a few times, but everybody should remember, Lucky's character Wolfgang has because there's like personality quirks and stuff you can take. He explicitly has the paranoid personality quirk, okay? That's the character he's playing.
And remember, it's because of the way I play my character that Omega's like, we should have a paranoid quirk.
I realized to myself, I don't actually have a quirk for this yet. I'm gonna write it, and then it'll be like, hey, by the way, your character's super paranoid. You should probably take that quirk if it makes more sense.
And I was like, hell yeah! I took it immediately. It's amazing. But so that's what I'm trying to think of. It's all like, if shit's at the worst, if I'm at my worst, how strong I am. And I was like, having a thing that'll give me, I think it would be like 4 heal 4 a turn will be alright. Because I was also trying to think of it as a game balance way. It's like, with me being able to heal 4 a turn, and wounds a turn, and regain was like 10% blood.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Like turn like break the game. And I was like, a bit. It doesn't make me unstoppable, it just makes me harder to kill. Because here's the thing you gotta remember in games. There are other ways to deal with people besides just fucking killing them.
Right. Well, yeah, because the whole thing I'm thinking about was like, your 0-day solution is when ultimately one of these days I'm gonna get you and they're gonna throw you in prison or something.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a POW.
I'm pretty sure like that.
Because they're gonna have much. I even joked about this in our secret cabal. I realized, yeah, if the anti-tank thing stops working out, they're just gonna have to get like a dozen of these. Because they ran into like I have also, having played Ace Combat 7, recently, I've also been because you guys are flying mages, I've been incorporating a little bit of that into this. So like, there are fucking enemy units who have like niches and stuff, and I'm trying to do a lot more like enemy dialogue or just background noise. So they ran into an all-female unit. I'm like, so there's a dozen ladies, and they're just gonna have to, like, hook you with their rescue hooks and just drag you to the ground and sit on you. That's if the armor thing doesn't work out, because that's going to be easier than trying to open that can.
Yeah. There's always options, and I was like, and then I was trying to think, like, how many ways there are to defeat someone who has regeneration? It's like, capture, knockout, because regen doesn't help against, like...
Yeah, I was say, you realize that technically, even if you recover the wounds, if you still take half in a single blow and you fuck up the toughness roll again, and you pass out from shock, you don't instantly recover. Somebody has to, like, arouse you.
Yeah, it's like toxin, poisons, like, things that, like...
DOT,
yeah, there's, like, a lot of things that can, like, put me down. Still, so that's why I'm, like, okay with going, because I don't mind being, I like having the tools to suit the challenge. I don't want to be completely OP in a situation, because, like Omega says, if, like, I'm steamrolling everybody, like, that's not really fun.
And if you listen to the actual plays, there have been multiple times where I have tried to throw a high-level opponent at these guys, and Lucky has accidentally one-shot them. With you roll a critical one at the critical hit at the inopportune moment, and just like, oh, it's over. That's a little disappointing. Everybody kind of sits around and goes like, oh, that could have been cooler.
Yeah, and so it's like, I want to make sure that everything I do to my character, while makes me feel comfortable and where I am on power level, is again something that doesn't fucking break the game. It's like, that's why I haven't gotten like a tower shield before now. It's why like I haven't tried this regen before now. It's just like, because where I was before, I was like, alright, this is a comfortable level. That's like, I don't have to, like, I'm fairly armored, it's like this, but now that Omega has raised the level of what he's planning to do, so it's like, shit, gotta match it. Gotta match it. But I'm trying not to match it completely with the armor thing, because if I just make my armor super high, well, guess what? He's gonna have to start coming up with certain things. So it's just like,
and the game has built-in stuff for that, because that's like, that works for the players too. Where like, hey, guess what? If you get to a lot of high-level spells, most of them are like, and your damage ignores armor and or toughness. Because that's how you get better. Like, it's not, I don't necessarily want to be like, and you do 50 D10s worth of damage. Now, obviously, if you're Marth and you're ridiculously spec'd for Earth, like Titan's Throw does. Titan's Throw is the capstone Earth spell. It's the very final one that's the most expensive. You have to pay a lot of EXP to get it. That does degrees of success, so every full 10 you succeed by D10 in damage. But it has no pen, and it does require him to have some earth around, because he's got to, like, pull a chunk of land up to throw at people. Now, he can probably roll some scary numbers of D10s, but he also might not. And they're also still raw D10s. There's no pluses or anything in there. I think one of the higher level fire spells, like Explosion, is like that too. It's just like, DOS in D10s of damage in an area, but also it's still random, so you never know. Sometimes you roll high, sometimes you roll low. Like we were concerned about the balance level of shadow rounds, because those do critical damage for free. We're like, oh man, he's rolling like 8d10. That's really scary. Well, hey, guess what? A lot of those dice rolls averaged out and really didn't. They weren't as scary as they could have been because they were not modified. So
yeah,
the numbers actually matter. Like, it's funny, I actually got a critical hit on you, it went through all your armor and actually did you a couple wounds, and you bled a little bit.
Yep.
But that's all you got.
Oh, by the way, I realized I shouldn't have been able to burn blood for spell casting, because that's specifically a fire spell.
Oh, yeah, so you don't actually have blood burn. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you did, because you were getting into fire, and I think that's low down there, but okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, I thought you could just do it, but I was like, oh wait, no.
No, that's for ritual work. Is you can make a blood sacrifice. You can give a little bit of your blood, but no, if you want to in the moment spice up your flashy combat magic, that's a fire thing to like burn up a little your energy. Yeah. Fire's a really fun tree because it's not just exploding people, but it's also got stuff like there's Heart of Fire. There's some utility stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff where you can actually disenchant people, or you can reduce their charges.
There was like mana burn, cleansing fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did buy a bit into fire.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is also the other thing, is we talked about your ADHD. You're like that with your character build, too. You started buying fire because there was a point, like 5 sessions ago, where, golly gee willikers, you really wanted Witchfire. Which is, there's a high-level fire spell which specifically does extra damage to supernatural creatures. And you may have just been bad touched by a demon. So,
I'm not, like, completely regretful that I bought fire, but I was like, man, I really should have, like, put that XP into getting more metal, or like putting more into my neutral trees. Because
Right.
again,
you realize that while that would be really good and you like those spells, like you've been using explosive ammo a lot, way more than you used piercing ammo.
Yeah.
Not that piercing ammo is bad, because like we just talked about that armor penetration thing. Like if you fought a good metal mage who could roll good on piercing ammo, the base damage might not be good, but like they could probably start chip damaging you with a pistol or something. But anyway, you really like the bonus effect for explosive because it's blast.
Yeah.
But you probably could have, like we talked about how cheap decoy is. There's a lot of like low cost spells which are actually like really pretty useful in neutral trees. To like cover a lot of stuff and give you a lot of bonuses that are
like
that's what they're there for. They're supposed to be any old mage can access these trees. You will never be locked out of these. So they cover a lot of your generic magic effects, like reinforcement stuff, make items stronger, fix items, make yourself stronger, compensate for shit.
I was noticing there wasn't like, well, I'm always a fan of the fucking isekai trope, and I was realizing there's no like base dimension magic where you can like store things in other dimensions stuff. Like, did you actually like decide not to do that, like consciously, or you just didn't think about it?
No, that's an active thing that like there's not a lot of like weird space compression.
Okay.
Like you could probably, especially once because Mages 2020 is a concept at least. That could probably be a thing where like, oh hey, we have a better understanding of the actual way space and time works. You can like compress stuff. Because like there is a normally NPC only time tree. But that's like, by the way, time magic is really fucking complex. Like, it explicitly has a rule that's like, anytime you do a magic mess-up on time at all, double your result. Just fuck you. Because you're not supposed to be fucking with time.
Don't do that.
But yeah, like, there are some other, like, mostly NPC-only spells, which are like, oh yeah, you can just, like, jump through shadows or something dumb like that. Like, without a lot of setup. So, like, there's some opportunities to storage. And I mean, once you have, like, and you get high level mobility, you can teleport people and things. I was actually looking
at that.
I should actually double check. Is there the way teleport is worded? Because is there a way to summon items to you?
No,
I should probably figure that out then. I don't know if I want to like overburden mobility, but that should probably be a separate thing, like to conjure an item that you own to you.
Recall or something?
Yeah, because that's a pretty common mage trope to be like, oh shit, I don't have my sword on me. Here's my sword. I snapped my fingers in case that doesn't come out on the mic. But like, and obviously, I you know me, I know how to limit this stuff so it's not crazy. Like, you can only summon an item that weighs in maximum number of kilograms equal to your will modifier or something. How much does a sword weigh?
We were talking about this too, like with belt pouches. I was asking, hey, can you store multiple items in a belt pouch? And you're like, no, because like the way the mechanics work, you're basically fishing out something real quick.
Right. It's supposed to be a quick draw military pouch. It's like, shit, I need a stick of ammo, or I need a flare or a flashlight now, and just comes out of the pouch.
Yeah, but then I was like, all right, if it's only one item, can it be multiples of that one item? And you were like, yeah, that sounds right. And I was like, cool.
I'm like, yeah, let me think about that. No. I mean, if you don't, flares don't weigh a lot. You can stick a couple of flares, so long as you don't care what item comes out of there, you can probably fit multiple flares in a belt pouch.
Yeah, that's why I have a belt pouch with now 5 flares in it. Oh yeah, it's under 1 kilogram and stuff. And so it's like, yeah, we're like, again, eternal beta. We're constantly like probing.
Yeah, and we're asking questions like this and figuring stuff out.
And I enjoy it. I really do. I really love this game. Like again, like when we get big, full production. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would figure that anyway. So yeah, I will definitely want to like round this out and give it a proper formatting and publishing. Buy some art, because I do think I think it has actually turned out to be one of my homebrew projects that is actually really pretty successful, and keys off the right stuff. I learned the right lessons from things, and we're putting through a lot of playtesting. And if you guys want to know more about Mages of War, listen to our complete actual play series. There's like a playlist that's just Mages of War, because I've done like some info videos, and you can find links and stuff to read it.
All right.
We're about 2.5 hours. I think we're
okay. So we put a pin in this yesterday, and I'm kind of curious to what you have to say about it. So what happened with you and Verve?
Okay, so this will be pretty short. I think I told most of it last time, but so I've been talking about how like I re-upped my Rooster Teeth First membership. I'm watching a lot of their shows. They're pretty good. I'm thinking about it to myself like, I don't want to. They got a second season of Haunter, which is their ghost hunting show. Which, if you are actually a Rooster Teeth First member, or one of some other memberships, which I'm going to mention, and you haven't checked that out, try it. Because like if you can stand the AH guys, watching them hunt ghosts is hilarious. I think I said this a couple weeks ago to Lucky, where like, hey, when we have funding, do you want to go hunt ghosts? Because I feel like that would be a fun time. But like I was like, oh, can I get the my one of my major hangups is it's hard to get it on my TV because it is. They on the PS4 anyway. They don't have a standalone app.
Yeah.
So I've heard several people mention, and I knew this already, that they're like, oh, it's available through Verve, and I'm like, we've had conversations, for instance, recently about game launchers on PC. That's kind of how I felt about like multiple apps. I'm like, oh, I don't know. They're probably going to make me sign up for an account. Don't want to go through the whole thing, right? And just to get a whole new app because I'm already like, oh, Netflix, oh, Amazon Prime, oh, YouTube. Like it's like I got to have a whole new account. I'm literally not going to use for anything else. But some people were like, hey, you can get Verve on your PS4. I'm like, yeah, I know I can. I don't know if I want to do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm bored. I'm watching some stuff like on my phone. I'm like, can I get this on my TV? I'll check out what Verve says, and I'll see how bad it is. So I download the app. First thing I see, first of all, is Verve, presented by Crunchyroll. I'm like, oh, well, first of all, this explains some fucking things. Because I know that Crunchyroll has been trying to slide into some relationship with Rooster Teeth before. Like, they picked up their anime podcast, which on their website apparently didn't do very good, which is a shame, but because they were pretty funny. They partially
Jinlock's on Crunchyroll too.
Yeah. So that's they started like Crunchyroll picked them up and basically authorized them to record more seasons and post them on Crunchyroll. I don't know how that's doing right now. I don't hear anything about it, so I'm not sure. Maybe they're not doing it right now. They had like an animation crunch or something. RT Animation is a very busy chunk of their studio, so like if they don't have time to talk about animation right now, I can see why. But like because they have an RTX coming up in a couple months, and I'm sure there'll be a new premiere of Ruby to be there.
Oh yeah,
we really need to catch up on that sometime. Even if we decide we don't like it, we just need to take some time and catch up. I'm just stuck in that rut where I'm like, do I start from episode 1 or do I just watch the seasons I didn't watch yet, kind of thing? Because I have the first 3 volumes on Blu-ray. But anyway, I'm like, okay, so I see why Rooster Teeth has this relationship with Verve now on PS4. I'm like, okay, clearly Crunchyroll paid them a lot of money. So I joked about this on Let's Talk FGO. So like we've said before about how we have some critiques of Crunchyroll where it doesn't necessarily feel like they put any money they make back into their website. It's very bare bones, right?
Yeah.
So I joked, well, clearly all your money is going into Crunchyroll buying exclusive contracts with people like Rooster Teeth and all this other fucking web content that they immediately advertise to me when I download it. But
you see, here's something, because, a lot of people, like I said, I like to defend Crunchyroll because, I think they do alright. Some people, get upset because, sometimes their subs aren't on. So they kind of have a mean reputation. But I started thinking about it, yeah, they might go on about, how they're saving anime. And, that might be a bit of a harsh horn to toot, but it's because they actually can toot that horn. Like, Crunchyroll right now, because of them, that's why we're getting the Saga of Tanya movie in theaters. That's something being put by Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll,
right. They are doing it.
Right now,
they are trying more, and it's interesting to see, like with movies, for instance, they have realized, oh shit, people will pay to go see anime movies in America. We can turn that into a business. That's good. That's good that they realize that that's an opportunity they can capitalize on and push forward to bring anime out here that people are going to watch, because they will.
Yeah,
will their website tools get any more refined? We don't know.
We don't know. But they I was actually looking at it, Netflix. Yeah, they have hired. I think I mentioned this last time. Netflix doesn't put out a lot of anime titles because it's not necessarily their focus.
Right, and they do decently, and a lot of their attempts to do original productions have been pretty good. They've at least funded some really cool studios and stuff.
Yeah.
They've also done dumb things where they authorized the live-action Death Note movie, the American one, which I have not watched, but I will never watch because
probably not
it's gonna suck.
But it's Netflix, you might get some better stuff, but the majority of your anime is not going to come from Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Netflix has not necessarily positioned themselves as the mass market anime distributor. Crunchyroll has, and we've said that that's for better or worse. They are. I've talked about this. I accept that they are very much trying to do this lowest common denominator. They're just buying up whatever fucking licenses they can and throwing them at us. And does that mean that sometimes their product is not very high quality? Sure. But they're trying, at least. My main critiques of them is mostly how they present themselves. I hear and have seen some annoying stuff from them, and B, it's that they don't necessarily seem to be taking any of this success that they're supposedly having and all this stuff they're doing and actually improving their core product, which is, I'm like, that's a little disappointing that, like, you're supposed to be big and successful and you're, like, saving anime or whatever your marketing, blah, blah, blah is. But, like, you guys are spending money, I'm sure, to fund Rooster Teeth's anime podcast, which apparently wasn't successful to their own fans, even though you're tight with them. But, like, there were people complaining that you don't, like, save people's place in videos on your shitty video player and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they do now. That was a complaint for a long time that, like, they didn't remember your place. Or some people had problems where it's hard to physically backtrack it to, like, the 0th second. You always start at, like, 3 seconds or something. I've heard that a lot. And I remember that being a little bit of a problem rewatching some Crunchyroll videos. I don't know if they fixed that lately, but
I don't know. Like, I have that problem.
They've had a few glitches and issues that were like, these seem like these are really simple, and you'd really want to iron these out being a video platform, but we didn't. So it's like,
I don't know. Like, especially for, like, not getting your specific time on fucking video. That seems a problem I have with all video players. Like Netflix, Amazon Prime. It's all like, I'm trying to get there. Oh God.
Luckily, most of these things have just a play from beginning button, which, like I said, I don't know if Crunchyroll does that. I haven't looked at their video player in a while.
Well, I know, see, I use it on the PS4, and I have my own issues with the PS4 specifically, because...
hey, maybe the PS4 is better on Verve, but hey, let me finish that story really quick. Yeah, so, like, I download Verve, right? I mean, there it's like, get an account to do all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want an account yet. I want to double check some stuff. So I search for what I know is normally a premium video series on Rooster Teeth, right? You'd have to be first only. Well, I have the membership. So I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And it's like, they're like, so I open it up and it's like, so they're like Verve premium only. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. Not only do you guys want me to download a new app and make a new account so I can remember all that stuff, you guys want me to pay you to get access to content I already pay for. And I'm like, now maybe there's some kind of like mirroring function where I could like connect my accounts, but I'm like, I'm on a fucking PS4. That's way too much work to jump through all these hoops. I really wish you guys had just developed your own app. So Lucky, you know what I did? I remembered the PS4 has a shitty generic internet browser.
Yes, it does.
So I went to roosterteeth.com and signed in through the internet browser, and I can watch videos just fine. I'm like, this is really more... I love an app that's very convenient, but I can watch Achievement Hunter or Weird Place or whatever the fuck I feel like on my TV. I'm fine now.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that was my ultimate solution, was like, this is just... It's not hard, but I feel like it's way too inconvenient, and it's way too worrying. It's like, I feel like you're stressing me, where you're like, you're indicating that I would have to pay more money to watch something. I'm like, just do your own whatever. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, so jokes about, Crunchyroll's money going to buying exclusive contracts for Verve or whatever aside, like, they do stuff. They do okay.
Like, honestly, like, I think some people, like, as I said, Lucky, is specifically, he's a person of, I'm willing to overlook some flaws. And that's why I am with Crunchyroll. Yeah, I understand they ain't the greatest, but they do a lot, and I think some people might not recognize that. Because, like, they've been working, like I said, to bring over movies. They work on, like, bringing over games, too. Like, Crunchyroll's, Danmachi game, Memoria Freeze. They really sell that. I tried it. I didn't like it, because I'm like, it's like 5 characters in, like, 6 different poses. I'm okay. But,
Yeah, I think that, but that was just, I feel like they may have maybe picked a bit wrong of a game to sponsor there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was, shit, we want to break into the US gacha market because that's an anime-related thing that's getting really big.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh,
I do think they're
anime tie-in was not super good. Because, like, I've heard conflicting reports about how shitty and predatory stuff like the Dragon Ball gacha game is, and the Bleach gacha game is kind of a pain in the butt, apparently. Though,
oh, really?
Kubotite still does designs for it, so they're sick.
But, so it's like, as much people get, it's like, give them some slack. That's like, they're trying, maybe they're not always they're trying to move forward. Maybe it's not, like, the best direction all the time, but it's a direction. God fucking damn it, people. You can't do everything right the first fucking time. I think that's, like, what my main complaint is people always expect, like, whatever companies to be fucking amazing at whatever product they're doing. And
right,
really
and hey, there's missteps. Like, we just talked about Rooster Teeth. I know they've had some production missteps in their time. They've had some shows that they were like, ooh, shit, that sucked. That didn't do well.
Like, don't demonize.
Heck, we know that. We've done video productions where we've been like, ooh, that did not click. We're not.
Yeah, like, don't demonize companies or productions for, like, something that isn't going well if, like, overall they're doing alright. I think that's what I'm trying to get to here mostly with Crunchyroll.
Like, okay, if you have a specific issue with the Crunchyroll and, like, you've said this and they haven't fixed it, like, whatever, there's something going on with their video player or whatever that's not good for you. Maybe they don't work with your browser or whatever, and, like, that's probably, if that's persisted for a while, months, years, whatever, because Crunchyroll has been around a decent chunk of time, that's okay. That's fair play where, like, their service still hasn't managed to fix a problem for me that I've experienced. But, like...
Yeah.
They're still working on stuff. They still do it. They're a little slow. They clearly have priorities and places, and maybe their priorities aren't the best, but they do whatever it is they do,
As I said, I'm not going to say they're saving anime, but they're doing a whole lot more than anyone else.
I don't know if they're saving anime, but they at least are part of they're a decent part of the anime production loop in the US now.
Yeah. It's like, forgive them for
and
their
they have created business opportunities and stuff. Like, for a while there, they had that partnership with Funimation that I think was really working out. But then that got Funimation in the public eye and got them enough profit. They were able to go like, oh, we don't necessarily need to integrate with Crunchyroll anymore. We can strike out on our own service and be ourselves.
Because that's another fucking account that I'm not just going to fucking sign up.
It is. It's annoying to the consumers, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't have to be tied to another company... Right, like that's also can be good for like your creative endeavors, and I'm sure like some of the stuff they do is like that's got to be a bit of a pain in the ass, right? Where you like doing like simuldubs, where like the day after an episode posts, you have a dub up or something as opposed to a sub, right? That's got to be a huge pain in the dick.
Oh yeah,
like, if you're doing that technically, boy howdy, I would really hate to have to. Also have the extra layer where, like, okay, now I need to upload it to Crunchyroll servers so they can post it, and it's completely out of my fucking hands, right? Like, that would be, woo. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff's annoying. Like, Disney Plus is gonna be annoying.
Like, so I wanted to mention this real quick. So there's an anime out right now called, Senryu Shoujo, Senryu Girl. One of the main characters is a girl who doesn't speak, but writes everything in Senryu, which is basically haiku. It's all 5-7-5. So originally, the haikus are in Japanese, but whoever's doing the translations and Crunchyrolls are working so that even in the English translation, they are still 5-7-5. So
that's gotta take some effort.
That's gotta take some effort. So it's like I can understand, like, because I've definitely been one to fucking laugh at Crunchyroll's failed subbing attempts. Like, they're fucking
and who knows, maybe we talked about them learning and growing. Maybe they finally got tired of people making fun of them.
Well, no, I'm still gonna make fucking fun of them because they fucking in their anime Fox Senko-san, they translated the onomatopoeia for a fox, which is con, as wee. So this girl's going con, making fox sounds, and the translation is going wee, wee, wee. I'm just like, oh my fucking god. This makes me cringe. So they're not fucking perfect, but, like, no one's perfect. People will do good, and they will do bad. I'm really, like, beating a dead horse here, but I feel pretty strong about this. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm, like, harping on it. Because, again, like, I just don't like seeing people, because, like, this is just, like, one of my core things. It's like, I don't like people, like, smacking down on something because it does not, like, subscribe to their perfect ideal.
Yeah, and I think a lot of humans, anyway, have that response when you just dogpile on something, right? Like, just... Yeah. But at the same time, some people also have the reverse. They're like, oh, Crunchyroll's clearly huge. They can't take a few hard knocks. Kind of like, there's definitely a human back and forth there, but, like... Yeah. I kind of agree with you. I definitely think they should... I have my own issues with Crunchyroll. I'm talking about, like, and they have dumb stuff that I'm annoyed by. Like I said, I'm annoyed by how they handle social media.
Oh, yeah.
But
I do enjoy, I do follow them on Twitter because they do, give me anime news that, is usually relevant to me. That's how I learned about, the saga of Tanya the Evil movie. It's, came up on my Twitter. I was like, oh, shit. But, their actual, lists and stuff, I'm like, I don't give two shits. Just give me fucking news.
Yeah. Or, we've also talked about, we have some very sharp critiques of their anime awards.
Yeah. But here's the other hand. They're actually doing an anime.
They try at least. And, that's like we said, Like, we may be salty about some decisions, but they're trying at least, and sometimes they're pretty decent.
Yeah.
And they don't, like we said, we don't necessarily know their full voting process. They probably don't have full control over the results. Though, like we said, maybe you could curate that a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like, they are trying, they are a business, they're obviously successful, like, and I'll say this, like hey, if you use Crunchyroll, you give them money, you have a perfectly valid right to complain about stuff they do because you're a paying customer, and you're like, yeah, hey, I pay you guys money. Where's this money going? What am I paying you for? Kind of stuff. Like, I feel that's fair. And if you don't pay for Crunchyroll and they do stuff, and you're like, that's why I don't pay for Crunchyroll, that's also perfectly valid, right? Hey,
if you either way, if you want to like let Crunchyroll like write them a fucking email or something, contact them. I was like, this is one of the other things that annoys me. Is people like to complain and don't actually try to do anything about it.
Yeah, people don't necessarily direct their stuff well. We've talked about that a lot with, like, Let's Talk FGO, where people have complaints but do not articulate or direct them in an appropriate direction.
Yeah, that's like, I'm pretty sure. And I mean,
listen, I've heard stories, at least, that maybe not using their Crunchyroll account, but I have heard stories that maybe some of the Crunchyroll, like, marketing community team can be a little harsh, and maybe you don't want to engage with them directly, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah, not like anything too bad, but I've heard, like, I don't remember his name, but I think one of the guys who, like, runs one of their social media accounts has, like, he's actually been saying, like, off the official account, not necessarily, like, saving anime, but, like, the continuing to purport the kind of, like, hey, we're doing work to help the industry kind of thing, like, basically in his off hours kind of stuff, where I'm like, that's kind of like, okay, dude, like, calm down, you're talking to me as a person, don't try to sell me your company line kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, hey, maybe he's just really passionate and invested in his job, which is usually a good sign. It could just be a little bit annoying if you're in a different context. But, we also said this before. I don't know the guys at Crunchyroll personally. I haven't had any really, like, interpersonal interactions with them, so I don't know. I've only had, like, I've talked about my complaint about their social media where they'll fucking post spoilers and clips on their social media feed like 12 hours later after the episode come out, and like, fuck, what if people don't have time to watch this yet, you assholes? Get hyped for the sick fight scene, here's the entirety of it on our tiny Twitter video. I'm like, god damn it, guys. You run an anime community. Don't you know what the spoiler policy? You gotta wait like I think it's a minimum of a full week, right? Like, before you start uncapping that shit. God damn. People have their lives.
I don't know. That's the thing about videos.
Spoiler culture's kind of broad and multimedia, but we do not have time to go into all that. We're at like 2:55, so that's a whole separate conversation for another day. But
yeah, okay, but we'll just end it there. It's like, I'm just gonna go in fucking circles about what I have to say about it. I don't want to.
Yeah, and honestly, we'd probably go in circles about spoiler culture too. But yeah, no, like I'm just saying, like it to me, it rubs me the wrong way because it feels kind of off because they're running a media community thing, and I'm like, You're a little soon to jump into this hype train, guys.
Choo-choo.
Like, but that's probably also, that's a Twitter thing, because we've talked about this before. Like, there's not a lot of filters on Twitter. So, you can get some very spicy tweets.
That's a blessing and a curse. Actually, have I marked I think you can mark your Twitter for not suitable for work.
You can mark it, but I'm pretty sure almost anybody who's actually over 18 turns off that filter anyway, and they just see everything, because why the fuck would you want to, like... This is, we're talking about the convenience thing. Why would you want to deal with having to be like, yes, I accept, I want to see this tweet?
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know, because, like I said with my Twitter, I'm usually, like, not too shy about, like, posting, the explicit, the lewd, but there are some things I like, I'm like, I probably should be a little too lewd.
Yeah, I have a personal thing which is just like, I don't know. People I know might follow me on Twitter. I don't necessarily want to, like...
Oh, I know my little brother who follows me on Twitter, and, like, I just like to think about it. I am blowing this kid's mind some days.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've been just me on, my screen name anyway. I've used my real name at personal points and switched back, because it's just like, nobody cares about my given name is right now. So what screen names, dude? Wave of the future. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to necessarily be thirsty on main, as it were, in public. Like, now that I'm against it, I'm just like, I don't want to necessarily, like, turn anybody off in, like, a regular back and forth conversation. I save that for my favorites, my likes. But if there's not a nipple in it, I'll retweet it.
get back into
Like,
that
there have been times when people in our Discord have posted in the Hella Not Safe for Work channel, and I'm like, I could have got an art dump.
Yeah. Well, this is why both the channels are fucking not safe for work.
Right. Well,
Because,
and art dump was originally for that, but then it became a question which was like, okay, but how not safe for work is not safe for work, and I'm like, okay, I'll create a new channel just to be safe, which we immediately decided to talk about philosophy in.
Oh wait, no, we're almost 3 hours. We can't talk about the subverse yet. Fuck.
Yeah,
because that's actually a pretty hot fucking topic. We really
that's been blown up because they broke some records, but maybe we'll talk about that at a different time. Where apparently, porn video games have saved Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Because Kickstarter was kind of on its way out, I think, is like a big hype thing in the collective unconsciousness, and but hey, people buy for porn. Also, though, that doesn't remind me, though, I did see a funny tweet where apparently somebody tweeted, like, in, like, 2019, don't you know your audience? How could you make a porn game, like, focused on, like, straight men? And, like, a lot of the replies are, like, they made, like, $2 million on Kickstarter. Clearly they know their audience. I'm like, hey, like, I'm not averse to people, like, approaching multiple topics and things either, but at the same time, they have a fucking point about the money. Clearly they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kickstarter is over, by the way. I supported it. I'm getting that game. Lucky likes his loot shit.
Yeah, well, good for them. Okay, well, we're at almost 3 hours. Obviously, some of that I'll compress down, but I don't think we got a hell of a lot of dead air. But it's like 8 o'clock at night. I haven't eaten dinner. We'll let this wrap up.
There's a party going to happen in my house in 2 hours.
Well, good for you. There's going to be a party that's going to happen on my PS4 soon.
I'm
playing some games. Anyway, alright, we're going to wind this down.
Yeah!
I will let everybody know that if you like this video, give it a like. If you have any comments about any stuff in the comment section down below, please leave them. I know that WhatsApp does get smaller views, but it also gets smaller comments, and I'm like, oh, that makes me sad. Comment more, guys. We love those. I love every little comment that comes by.
WhatsApp really never gotten as much traction as, like, Let's Talk FGO does, but we still get, like a few hundred.
No, it
views.
still does a decent niche, but obviously, I think we knew when we started it would be niche, because not everybody, and not only our seriously core fan base will probably want to put up with us talking about whatever the fuck for 3 hours, but hey, it's still there, and just, hey, we want to hear from you. We see you out there, we see you liking and watching the videos. Give us some feedback, let us know some stuff.
Real talk, I do just like talking to Omega for like 3 hours straight.
Well, that's what we talk about the game design thing, is we will literally just sit back and forth in our secret room and chatter and text about stuff. And that wasn't a planned topic today. We just talked about that for 30 minutes because we got started.
Yep.
Anyway, that was likes and comments. So, hey, if you're new here, do consider subscribing to the channel. Keep track of our videos. Even if you're already subscribed, don't forget the bell for notifications, so you always know when we post a new video, because, hey, guess what? Rendering is going to probably displace our posting schedule a little bit this week.
Whoop, whoop.
So, alerts help. And, like it's at the front of the show, if you like us, consider supporting us on Patreon. You could get this episode fairly early in audio format for just $1 a month. And, it really helps support us, and like I said, works toward that consolidation goal, so we can, like, really, I think, ramp up our production to the next level. So yeah, well, that's the show. That's what's up. We'll see you guys next week. Tune in for Let's Talk FGO as well, our core show, whatever else we decide to do in the week. And we'll see you next time.
Everyone, take care. I'm going to go make some hors d'oeuvres.